Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dads, listening to Tomcats, talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. Get some weed and now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. All right, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Today we conclude Season 2 of Fire and Bloom with the Season 2 finale of House of the Dragon. It was titled The Queen Who Ever Was, written by Sarah Hess and directed by Geeta Vasant Patel. I am Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. And we got an interesting one today. Season 2 of House of the Dragon has been a fascinating experience for us, as we didn't realize it was 8 episodes until 2 episodes ago.
Mm-hmm.
It seems almost as though the show also did not know it was 8 episodes until 2 episodes ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's been an interesting season. How'd you feel about the finale here?
Yeah, a ride that we've been on, but I'm not. I'm coming away immediately a little bit negative, but the more I've sat with it, and the more I've just thought of the season as a whole, I'm like, yeah, as far as the storylines that we set out this season, which some of them are just small and ended up being character arc or just character development, which is pretty much what this season can be categorized now, I feel like, is let's just give you a bunch of character development. Let's let you just sit with these characters. Let's give you the time, which is kind of the opposite of what Game of Thrones did at the end. We're like, we're going to rush it and we're going to skip all of this stuff, and we're going to give you just all the events. It feels like now they're finally. I kind of like that they decided to no, we're kind of going to slow it down, and we're going to give you the insides of every character's minds, so that whenever we do this shit, you're gonna know exactly what everyone thinks, and you're gonna know. Like, I'm so glad that we didn't just go to war right away at the beginning of the season, because I didn't give a shit about Aemon. I didn't give a shit about Aegon. I didn't give a shit about Helena. I didn't give a shit about anyone on Team Green whatsoever.
Or,
at
frankly,
all.
Jace. I didn't give a fuck about Jace.
True, yeah.
There was a Bela, Rhaena, hardly gave a fuck. Now I'm excited for whatever all of the kids are doing in Season 3. And that's exciting stuff, So, like, I will not come on here and act like it was a perfect season finale.
Mm-hmm.
It was far from it. It was anticlimactic. This was the 8th episode of a 10-episode season.
It is real. Like, I know this is not going to happen. Like, they're not going to be. Here's the last 2 episodes of the season. But whenever Season 3 drops, if the first 2 episodes are just this culmination, it's gonna feel really weird. It's just gonna that's a completely a business decision at that point to extend the show another season by taking off 2 episodes and then chunking on another season, if that is the long-term goal. Which
HBO decided that it would be 8 episodes. They had to rework the script, and it resulted in this being the finale. It wasn't the finale. This was not originally conceived of as the finale. So, it's as always, production side of things. The production company doesn't know how to let a story unfold. However, I'm still content with the season we got. I do think the season finale was underwhelming, but I do think it emphasizes what the show is and has always been. House of the Dragon, the very nature of dragons implies war. It implies fire. It implies blood. That is what the Targaryens are, and that's what you expect. But I appreciate that the show has steadfastly stood on business as it regards their essence. The idea we are caring about the characters, the relationships, and the inner workings of every character's mind. And that has always been at the forefront, which the last couple seasons of Game of Thrones could have benefited from. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why, like, when it comes to a season being quote-unquote anticlimactic, I'd prefer this to it being nothing but climactic. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really would, you know, and because nothing but climactic makes it, what are we here for? You know, I want to understand. And I think the payoff we get next season is going to be immense, which is what I'm really looking forward to. Obviously, it sucks that we have to wait a couple years. There's just multiple sides to the production side versus the story itself. It's a real back and forth game, you know.
And I was wondering if there's any connection whatsoever with the next. Is it just Duncan and the Egg, or is that?
It's called. It's about Dunk and Egg.
Okay, Dunk and Egg. Okay, not and
Dunk
the Egg.
And
okay, so just
Dunk and Egg. Dunk and Egg. Dunk and Egg.
Okay, so
and it is Duncan and Aegon. Those are the names of the characters involved. Dunk and Egg. But the show is actually called The Ugliest Name a Show Has Ever Had. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, the Hedge Knight. Which is
of the Seven
horrendous
Kingdoms,
title.
The Hedge Knight. What do we call it? Do you even abbreviate
I'm probably
it?
just going to call it the Hedge Knight. I'm probably just going to call it the Hedge Knight.
Okay.
I mean,
so when the Hedge Knight comes out, it will come out in between these two seasons.
Seasons 2 and 3. Yeah.
Is that purposeful? Is that is there a
I don't
story
know.
element that
we have gotten a little more information about it within the last couple days? It's set 100 years after House of the Dragon and set 100 years before Game of Thrones. So it falls perfectly in between. It could have some important information. Read the Targaryens, because the Targaryens still reign at that time. It could be purposeful, you know. Now, as to what that purpose is, I couldn't really tell you. As our deal here on Fire and Bloom is, we don't read.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not to say we don't read. We don't read these books. We don't read these books so that we can be surprised by the television show. You know, we want, you know, I as much as I do love books, I enjoy watching the thing it's based on first and then getting that extra bit. It's something that has really fulfilled me as a Game of Thrones fan, is that I watched the show and now being able to visualize the books as perfectly as I can really, really helps me, you know, and then being able to imagine the stuff that isn't in the show is a lot of fun, but I have a basis for where to go with it, and it's a lot of fun. So that's just the way that I like to engage with it. I'm not reading Fire and Blood until after season 4 of House of the Dragon, as it has been confirmed as of today.
Whoa.
The show will be 4 seasons.
And did they specifically say 8 episodes per?
They did not. They said 4 seasons.
Okay.
It will run its course in 4 seasons. So I imagine we will be getting, I mean, it's a big gap. And I'm interested to see what comes next. Obviously, they're not putting Thrones aside anytime soon. This is a massive IP. HBO is kind of banking on it a little bit, or Warner Brothers is on the television side. So, but yeah, no.
That's why I fear. I hope this isn't we take a break and then this other show is going to drop a really important detail for the Targaryens, which will change kind of the way you look at seasons 2 and 3.
I don't think it will. I mean, like I said, it is based on a story that George R.R. Martin wrote. You know, they can't take too many liberties in this realm. You know, it's it is a short story, relatively novella, probably more accurately, not strictly a short story, but it's 6 episodes. Like I said, 100 years after House of the Dragon, 100 years before Game of Thrones, the idea that it would have anything that is that substantial to House of the Dragon is pretty far-fetched to me. I can't imagine that's the case. But regardless, I'm happy with season 2 as a whole. Of course, a little underwhelmed by the finale. It's kind of impossible not to be. It was a bit anticlimactic. However, I do still appreciate it for what it was, and I think that's an important thing to emphasize, is that I did enjoy it a great deal. So if you are ready, we can go ahead and begin a bit of a scene by scene, location by location breakdown, and we can start in the Vale.
Okay.
So Reyna searches for the wild dragon and finds it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all that happens.
And we're done.
But,
we finished the Veil.
The Veil. No, but like, so this was something we talked about a little bit off mic last night. Obviously, it was a little more thorough than that. She continues her search for the wild dragon. She's searching day and night. Very ill prepared, has to stop at a creek and drink from her hands, nearly freezing overnight. So, like, I appreciate the trials and tribulations they show her go through before she comes face to face with the dragon. I think that's a pretty. I'm astonished that the conclusion of the season for her and the conclusion of this arc, which has seemed inevitably to be that she will claim the wild dragon. Just show me her claim the wild dragon, man. Because we're not starting season 3 with Reyna getting burnt to a crisp. You know?
Yeah, and if we do, I'm writing it off as if it's not going to happen, because it should not happen. But
no, it should not.
If it does, that is one of...
If it starts with her getting burnt to a crisp, this season should have ended with her getting burnt to a crisp. Whatever happens next is how this story should have ended.
Yeah,
you know?
And that's I thought at first my gripe was that it was egged on for too long to not have a reveal, and I think we arrived at it was just it needed whatever the reveal was. It's just we kind of needed to end with whatever
just
was
going
to happen.
A little bit,
yeah, just
you know?
to have her even if she just touch it, like just makes the bond.
Yeah,
that's it,
and that's it. Yeah,
that's all I needed.
Because coming face to face and the dragon screeches at her, it's not enough for me. That doesn't tell me that, like, I know she's going to claim that fucking dragon. You know, and maybe that should be enough, but it's not. You know, like I want you to show me that, and frankly. As far as the anticlimactic ending of the season goes, that might be the only thing I'm not happy with. You know, in terms of the literal conclusion of arcs in this episode, I should say. Like, I feel like everything was relatively tidy. Except for that, where I was like, we really could have sealed that off a little better.
I think you're right. Like, as when it comes to Team Black, Team Green, we're pretty sealed off on the big things. Even like Alice and the the strong storyline, it's still a little mystery there, but purposeful mystery, or like whatever the fuck's going on. I think like everything else is wrapped up very nicely.
Well, everything was pretty wrapped up last episode, you know? That's what made it feel a little bit like a penultimate episode, was that like, last episode even felt kind of like a finale, you know? You pointed that out. It was like, it's kind of crazy that we have another week, you know, like, and then we get this other week and it's like, well, now it's crazy we don't have another week, you know, and it's funny to think about it like that. But yeah, the Veil with Reyna, I really like that character. I think she's going to be a fan favorite. Obviously, I don't think she's been given enough yet to be. But claiming a wild dragon, which apparently is different from the books. Apparently there is somebody who claims the wild dragon in the books, and it's not Reyna, and that character seems to not be in the show.
Wow. Yeah, and that's why I was wondering if I go ahead and make the read in between now and then. Like if I actually commit, and because I feel like I've somehow avoided all spoilers. Like I guess I'm just not really on social media much anyways. But like I've avoided all spoilers and everything, but for 2 more years, like someone not just being like, they could drop the simplest thing and then I'd be like, oh damn.
I have a ton of spoilers.
Really? Okay.
I know a lot about how characters end.
Okay.
I don't know when. I don't know by who. I know how. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know this person dies by an arrow. I know this person dies by fire. I know this person dies by this. I know this person dies by that. I don't know whose fire. I don't know whose arrow. I don't know who's what. I don't know what.
My head would be spinning constantly.
Yeah, no, so it's
dude.
fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. You know, like, and it does create certain moments where I'm like, no way it's right now. You know, like, no way it's right now, right?
Cool. Yeah.
It is kind of cool, you know? And to know some of it is just context clues, being able to gather what people mean. There were a ton of foreshadowing moments this season that foreshadow characters' deaths. Like a ton of them.
Okay.
Man,
and it kind of makes
I'm
me want to I don't want to read it because it has been so fun not knowing where things go, and I can theorize.
The wild theorizing gets to be a lot of fun, and I think that's kind of the spirit of our show anyway.
That's true.
So I'm going to try to maintain that as best I can. However, if you do decide to read Fire and Blood, I think I will also read Fire and Blood, and then we can come into it together, knowing we're redefining what Fire and Bloom is.
I got to be honest with myself. I got to read Game of Thrones first.
Right,
Fire and Blood's not going to be my first actual read. I'm going to read the actual books first, so we got some time before I even think about that.
Probably 2 years away. Production on Season 3 starts early 2025, January 2025. So we will probably get that either late 2025, early 2026, which is nice,
Wow, but because I the only reason I was thinking of reading is because I need book time. I have designated book time now. I have to go to a laundromat to do laundry now. I don't have it in my thing, so I must just stay there. And I'm like, now I will use that as designated book time. So I will be reading, but I will keep true. No, I'll hold true.
I might take advantage of that in terms of
Star Wars.
Ideas.
That's like Star Wars Thrones. I need books. So.
All right, then I'll keep that in mind. But so that concludes the story with Reyna for the season. I appreciate where she's going. Wish we would have got a little further, but it is what it is. Next, we will go to the Triarchy in the Free Cities, where Tylan treats with several Free City representatives, and they bargain hard, extorting the crown for what it's worth, and ultimately coming to an agreement that results in the handing over of the Stepstones, which has long been fought over. We saw the fights in Season 1. That's where Daemon first goes on a fucking tear. That's where Laenor comes in with his dragon,
Crab, what was that dude's? The Crab Theater?
Yeah, Crab King, Crab, I can't
something,
remember.
But crazy that all that happens, and it's like, just give us the Stepstones. Like, all that fighting, all that shit you did, hey.
And he's like, the Prince Regent may kill me, but okay, sure, why not? I love that. And they're like, okay, one more thing. Our Captain Lohar must agree. And Tylan's like, all right, who the fuck is Lohar? And they're like, the men won't go with you unless he does. You must treat with him, and it will be all good. It's then that Lohar greets Tylan and refuses initially, looking him up and down and assessing off his appearance that he would not be able to best him. And Tylan's like, best you in what? And everyone's like, there's an extra behind Lohar that fucking kills me. He's got like a drink in his hand, and as soon as Tylan speaks, he like freezes, and he's like,
that's awesome.
I loved it. It was so funny and I loved Lohar. I'm a big fan of Abigail Thorne, fresh off of Acolyte and fresh off this specifically. I loved her in this role. She was so good as Lohar. This like weird, I love the androgyny they're presenting with them. It's really, really compelling. I think that Abigail Thorne plays Lohar perfectly.
They used him or pronouns in the show.
Pronouns towards Lohar, even though the character is played by a woman and presents quite womanly. Obviously, it's still androgynous, but I appreciate what they're doing there, and I'm curious if they are going to take it an extra mile and introduce like the first actual transgender character in Thrones, because Abigail Thorne is a transgender woman, so like it would be cool if they are going that route. Either way, I really like her as Lohar. I think that the vibe, absolutely my favorite character of the finale here, which I did not expect my favorite character of the finale to be a character we meet in the finale.
Does it remind you of anybody in Thrones specifically? I mean, I got like instantly, I was like, oh my God, this is like the somehow the bloodline has to work out this way. I don't know how.
To Yara?
I would Dario Naharis, but specifically the first Dario that we saw, not the new Dario,
the Ed Skrine.
Yes,
the Ed
and I was
Skrine
like,
Dario.
Somehow this bloodline like has to trickle down.
Well, there is one of the dudes in this like Free Cities representatives has a more book accurate look to him that is supposed to apply to General Tairashi's, which I think is where Dario Naharis is from, with like the blue beard and stuff like that.
That's a cool look here. Yeah, and them
that's what Dario is supposed to look like a little bit, a little bit closer to that. Obviously, they went much more medieval, sexy Fabio type vibe. But that is, and I loved this slate of the Free Cities are fun.
Yeah.
I want more of this. And to get Lohar immediately after meeting them was super fucking cool. I was like, this is where I want to spend my time. And to cut from there to the mud wrestling, which is just fucking awesome. Rather evenly matched, Thailand is getting his shit rocked for a while, but he gets in a few blows and Lohar is impressed. And, he's Thailand's like, well, would you perhaps consider agreeing to my deal then? And he's like, you know what? I'll consider it. I'll consider it. And that night they dine. They bond they bond as Lohar grows fonder and fonder of Thailand as he, sings for them and some such. And he agrees to his proposal and asks, beyond that, if Thailand would be interesting in fathering sons by all his wives.
Okay. I mean, not the request.
And I love that his question was, how many wives do you have?
Yeah, I feel like a valid, like he, for one, didn't expect.
How much work am I doing tonight?
There's so many like layers that are going on here that he's like, oh, okay, and so he's like, I feel like it's a valid question, but maybe not the first one. This is a, wow, what a night that he's having to go. Like he expected just like a diplomatic
this dude
meeting.
Had the best night of anybody in House of the Dragon so far. There's literally not a single other person who has had a night as good as Tywin Lannister had in the Free Cities in this one. I'm like, usually nights like this end up with somebody dead. Nobody died. Nobody got tortured. In fact, he probably got to have sex several times.
Yeah. And mud wrestled, probably good for the skin, good little sparring session. Good, whatever sex happened that night, we don't know, but multiple. Yeah, I mean, and we don't. We also. It
seems like it probably happened. There was certainly a vibe between Lohar and Thailand as well, which I would have appreciated getting acted on a little bit.
Wait a minute, is this the Lannister lineage? Is this?
No, it's not. I imagine
it's him and his brother. What other Lannisters?
Oh yeah, Thailand would be their ancestor, but I don't think it'll be because he fathered sons with Lohar's wives. I think that will.
It'd be incredible marry. If I guess there's because I'm always thinking of like Team Black of like who's the Targaryens to make it out of this and what's that bloodline, but now are those lines filled in? I guess there's more Lannisters out there. It's not only them, but
I'm pretty sure they are the direct descendants of one of Thailand or his brother. I can't remember his brother's name. I love the way Lohar continuously changes his name. Tyrod, Tywin, Tyrand. I love it. So Lohar was just so much fun, a breath of fresh air in a show that doesn't have a lot of fun. Like it is pretty intense always, and I didn't expect in the finale to be spending so much time with Tywin Lannister.
Yeah.
So like they did have to anchor it with something that made it worthwhile, and I think Lohar did. So I appreciated that.
Very valid, because usually I would not want to be with Thailand at all. Like, I didn't think, like, he'd pop up in the finale at all, like, whatsoever, and then I'm actually like, man, I'm glad you did. Like, I'm glad
I like what's going on in the Free Cities. That's the fun stuff. And it ultimately culminates with that big montage of everybody heading to war with Thailand and Lohar sailing side by side, which was a cool little visual. I appreciate, like, Tylan fucking sucks, but at least he's aligned himself with someone who's dope. Maybe Lohar can get like the best out of him somehow.
Gotta switch sides. I don't know how. Lohar, you gotta get on Team Black somehow, in some way, because right now we're fighting for the wrong side, but that's okay.
I don't like it.
Yeah,
no.
But hopefully, not a swift. Because I mean, they are going into battle. I mean,
it'd be pretty cool if Dario Naharis is like the descendant of Tyland Lannister and one of Lohar's wives.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past. I mean, it'd be pretty. I guess it's pretty far down the line. To be like to make that connection, but I don't know why. I got Dario vibes
somehow
though.
A descendant of Lohar. No, I see it. I see the vision. But that concludes the story with the Triarchy, and we will head to Sharp Point, where Aemon burns a city on Vagar's back. Delights in the horror, goes back in for seconds. He really, really.
Eesh.
Aemon's not happy. I feel like he's gone. Like, he was already not great, But, like, at the end of season 1, like, the thing that happens is, like, an accident. He's just kind of being a dick. I feel like he's fully embraced that.
He's gone. He's gone. Yeah, like, I used to kind of be on his side. Not on his side, but I was kind of like, if it's gonna be anyone out of Team Green, I guess.
We used to think Aemon would be a better king than Aegon.
Yeah, and I guess he's more studied. He actually just knows the shit. He's like, warfare tactics. He's got it on him, but his character, like the person he's become, he's mad. Like he's the power of Vagar.
Even Aegon hears what Aemon's done, and he goes, "That fucking mad cunt." He's like, "What the?"
Yeah, if Aegon is saying that, dude, like Aegon realizes, like that is just, well, hopefully anyone should realize that just burning down a city would be crazy. And a mad cunt is maybe a little light, I think.
Might be. It might not be. In fact, he handles it so casually, like fucking mad cunt. Like, damn.
That's breakfast for you. Like, is this
right.
like? Are you kidding?
Yeah.
But
It's like, shit. Wow. Can't believe my brother slaughtered thousands. That really sucks. So Sharp Point burnt real bad. Also unclear who Sharp Point belong to or where it is. It felt like he just picked a fucking city and burnt it to the ground.
Is it sad? Is that why we've never heard of it? Is because it never comes back from, like, this is just their, like, do they never rebuild? They're just like, fuck. Yeah. We're all like
I'm pretty sure he slaughters everybody.
Was everyone
nobody's
dead?
left.
Was everyone dead? I didn't.
Jay says thousands are dead or missing. Like, that's a lot of people, man. And it wasn't a big city.
It wasn't.
It was a town. It wasn't like it's not like it was King's Landing or anything. No, like it was a small town that he decided, I'm going to destroy this real quick. Nobody will care.
What was it called? Small Point?
Sharp
Point. Okay. I guess this could be spoiler territory. Maybe I just don't even do it. But I was going to maybe just look up and see if it ever.
Well, I think it
rebuild.
Just continues this episode. And this whole season, the thesis was that the small folk pay the price. Rhaenyra even asks Mysaria directly, but who pays the price? And there's an allusion to the dragons there as well. The dragons and the small folk are the ones who will eventually burn out along with the Targaryen line at all. But like that with Corlys and Alan and Hugh and Ulf and Adam and all of them, that has been the theme, is like the small folk pay the price, and this was just the most obvious example of that. Like there was a line specifically said to Aemond in the first couple episodes by the lady, the lady who comforts him in the brothel. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, who expressly says, whenever a king or whenever a prince loses his temper, it's the small folk who pay the price. Lost his temper and burnt down a fucking city, that's that's
expressly
what she said. So I appreciate that above all else, that has been the strong through line of this season, and I really appreciate that because Thrones never spent a fucking second on that.
Like you heard of Flea Bolton, for in the stories of the small folk, but they were never like an actual character of the show, and
I'm like, they had a brief angle with that, with the sparrow and stuff, being like, I came from nothing, but like he quickly let the power get to his head. It was no longer about the small folk, it was always through the lens of royalty or powerful people looking at small folk.
Yes.
Now we are actually getting the small folks' perspective, which I really appreciate. And it's cool because season 1 culminates like now. What Rhaenys does at the end of season 1 when she bursts through the ground and kills hundreds at Aegon's coronation, that didn't matter then. Like at the time when we were watching that season, it was like, well, fuck them, they're small folk. Like who cares?
Damn.
Now it's like, ugh, that's not a good look. And like even
right.
going back to whenever they trouted Maelyse's head through the streets. Like they're trouting the head of the dragon that killed a bunch of small folk, and even that doesn't get the small folk to be like, yeah, woo, like they don't like it's fascinating to see the way that they've angled the story in that direction, and I've really, really appreciated it. But we'll continue in the Riverlands, where Criston Cole cleanses his blade with the favor granted to him by Alicent. And
Fuck. Why does he have to keep cooking? Can he stop? Can he please have a bad scene? Can he die?
Stop letting this man cook.
Stop.
That's what's incredible is that like we're at a point now where like him dying won't be as good because he wants to die.
Yep. Yeah.
Like I want him to die because he doesn't want to die, but now that he wants to die, I need him to suffer,
we've hated him. We hated his guts, but I feel like this season we've had nothing but good things to say.
Yeah.
About him.
For the last, since what was it? Rook Rest, the Battle of Rook Rest, whenever he leaves and he wakes up, and the dragons have destroyed it. Like, that was obviously a life-changing moment for him. It recontextualized everything. He was like, I don't fucking matter. He became a nihilist, He was like, we are a speck of dust on a rock floating through space, Like, that is what he is now, Like, he's like, fuck it. If we die, it doesn't matter. The dragons are the gods, and we are dust beneath their feet. Like,
Yeah, homie. I don't, I guess true, a very valid response, but also his like homie was Aemond, and yes, he saw Aemond kill his brother and like do that. He did see that happen or try to kill his brother, but like, wouldn't you be like, well, at least I have Vhagar and Aemond behind me? Like, I don't. It was.
I think it's because Vhagar killed several of their men too. Like, it didn't matter. Like, he stomped all over them. Like, it's literally, we are dust beneath their feet. He watched Vhagar stomp all over them. Like it's
just.
I think
he is
nobody's
safe.
He's
like, there's nothing he can do to affect the outcome if Vhagar even if he is. Vhagar is on his side.
Like we are all fighting a war that is folly. We might as well just let the dragons fight. I think is kind of where he's at. He's like, what we do doesn't matter. Like, whatever the dragons do will determine the outcome of this war. We can keep fighting. Thousands of us will die, and it will not mean shit because the dragons will ultimately decide who's the winner.
Well, it would be nice if everyone thought like that. It wouldn't be. I would not like this, but if everyone thought that way, just nukes exist and they are the dragon equivalent. Just let the nukes do the fighting. But obviously, we don't let the nukes do the fighting, and so let's just stop all this silly fighting that we do otherwise,
why do it? Yeah, Gwaine approaches and holds his blade to Criston's throat. He's like, all right, man, you are done. I just saw you sniffing Alicent's underwear, essentially. Like, I know it's not Alicent's underwear, but that's what it approximates, it felt like.
Yes.
And he's like, you have debased yourself. You are unworthy of the cloak. And Criston is like, Absolutely I am, brother. Man, I suck. Thank you for calling me out. Fuck, I hate myself. You know, like, he's like, man, I've been waiting to get this off my chest. Stand there for a second. I hate me. Dude, I'm the worst. You're the worst. Everybody's the worst. None of us matter. We are nothing.
Man.
And he's like, maybe death would be a sweet relief. Don't you think so, Gwen? And Gwen just sits down. He's like, oh, fuck, man. All right. Shit.
How do you respond to that? You either become a nihilist in that second yourself, or you just have to sit down and be like, well, there's nothing I can say to this man to bring him back. This man is...
bro, you are gone.
He is marching to his death, no matter, it's no life left in Kristen Cole, but a performance, nonetheless.
Dude, Bobby and Frankel is really, really good.
Yeah. I have to separate the character from the actor. I cannot hate him just because of the character. But yeah, he's this season. Oh my god, he's leveled up a lot. Which everybody. I mean, you could say that across the board for every single character, every single actor. Everyone has become their character now. Like there's no. I feel like the biggest example for me is. Just we haven't gotten to her yet, but just Alicent. Alicent to me has become my favorite character, which is crazy because I'm Team Black all the way, but I actually I want Alicent's story. I feel like she is pushing the most interesting parts that I'm interested in somehow forward. And
that speaks volumes about how the war, I want battle. Yeah, I want to see that stuff. It's obvious that the actual war itself is right now the least compelling part of the story. It really is the intricacies of all, Aemond, Helena, and Aegon. On the green side, that whole dichotomy, what Aemond is spinning there, Helena being done with the shit, Aegon fleeing for his life,
dude,
that's awesome. That's interesting, Daemon and Harrenhal, I love the way that culminated. I really appreciate Rhaenyra trying to raise an army of the bastards. There's a lot of really, really good stuff going on that isn't strictly about the literal conflict. And I think that they do a really good job of emphasizing that. And, it's conversations like these that made Thrones so good, And Sarah Hess, as a writer, is fucking incredible. She's written some of my favorite episodes of House of the Dragon. I love Sarah Hess's work. So when it said written by Sarah Hess, I was like, fuck, yes, let's go.
Executed very well, I guess the events, the climaxes, it is nice. You do kind of need both for a season to be monumental. You need this slow,
and full,
and,
complete.
But you can't just have one or the other. To have just the good season, you need that. But man, I mean, as far as season 8 of Thrones or this,
washes it.
Yeah, it's not even close. It is not even
season
close.
7. And while season 6 had some of the biggest and coolest moments with the Battle of the Bastards and, the Winds of Winter, and the Door is very memorable. There's a lot of stuff in season 6 that is really, really cool, but even that doesn't have near to the character work across the board as this does. It's when I think of season 6, the only character I can think of that really sees an incredible rise is Jon. Yeah,
Dany's on her way down. Jon's just, on his steady way up. And that's kind of all it is. I don't know. It is just kind of all it is from there. But yeah, here
everybody
you have
is
the complexity
the
of
out.
Thrones.
Yeah.
There's so many different directions, so many different characters that it's this perfect weave that I am talking through it, I'm more sound on the season, now. Even we're not even through the episode yet, so
that's why I'm I can't blame anybody for being underwhelmed. What I will not stand for is the idea that nothing happened. A lot happened.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Are we in the same place essentially we were at the end of season 1? Roughly. In terms of the broad stroke big events, yes, we are roughly in the same place we were at the end of season 1. However, I know the characters a lot more, and I'm a lot more excited to see them fight. You know, like at first it was just like it was like watching sports before.
Yeah,
it was like
entertainment,
you know,
but whoever
yeah,
wins wins.
cool.
You know,
Yeah,
But-
exactly. Like whoever wins wins. I'm ready to watch this thing. Maybe I'm pulling for one side or the other, but as long as it's entertaining, I don't mind. Now I care. You know, now I don't want any of them to die.
That's true.
You know, say for a few characters. You know, and that's what I want. I want the tragedy that will come of everybody dying because nobody's making it out of this. You know, like that wouldn't have that would not have hit as hard if we didn't get a season like this. So. I like I said, I can understand where people are coming from, but ultimately, I think a lot of shows could benefit from a season more similar to this than some of the just climax after climax after climax after climax. But we'll then head to Driftmark, where Rhaenyra pays a visit to Corlys as his newly minted flagship, the Queen, whoever was, is ready to set sail, and he and his crew will set sail on the morrow. That was great. Him being like, everything I do from now on is for her,
man, come on. You have Kristen Cole being the absolute nihilist, and then you have Corlys finally taking all the bad and
embracing
being,
everything.
He's like, no, oh god, yeah, no, this was and it was early on in the episode too, which was so good. And because I was worried, I'm like, the Queen Who Never Was, the title. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And then to kind of get it eased my worries. I don't know, just to hear the Queen. Oh, I don't. That's
and the Queen whoever
was. Yes, I heard it as never because I just thought,
queen. Regardless, a queen, no matter what, and I love that. And
Rhaenyra's reaction to it was just kind of she was just like they had a moment where they both just kind of
that's
realized
why
it.
You
and
my
like,
hand,
you know what?
bruh.
Fuck yes, and yeah, it was.
That is why I fuck with you. Yeah, no, I love, and to see Corlys actually act as a hand was really, really compelling. This little conversation they have about needing to set sail and strike with haste because Aemond feels defeated. He is not the only one who has a dragon, and Rhaenyra's like, what the fuck I need to worry about Darren for? His dragon's a baby. And Corlys is like, no, I'm talking about the dragon that was born 180 years ago, who's really, really good at what they do.
Yes.
That's the one we need to worry about a little bit.
He kind of did dispense some wisdom here. He's kind of like, yeah, you got Helena, and he's like, oh, well, she's not a writer. He's like, well, if convinced to, she could. And it's like, yeah, well, you know what? Maybe I wasn't as comfortable. After Corlys says all these other players and things, Daemon is one of them that we happen to see. That at least he's not on the other side.
Cut,
but but I was like, you know what? Wait a minute. I was feeling very,
and
very
there's a moment at the end of this episode. When they're showing everybody go off to war, there's a dragon that flies over the Hightower army that I'm pretty sure is going to be Darren.
Oh.
Because we don't see anybody with the Hightower forces besides knowing Darren is in Old Town. And it is the Hightower army donned in green with their tower crest, and a dragon flies overhead. Fairly certain they showed us Darren's dragon for the first time. I might be tripping. Maybe it was Sunfire. Maybe it was Dreamfire. Is that Dreamfire? That's Helena's, which is super cool.
Yeah, I guess I haven't gone back and watched. I've only watched the episode one time through. I haven't even gone back to watch the vision that Daemon had or the end. I don't know. I guess we can get there. I guess whenever. You probably got all the details, but it would be nice to break that down and get all the
because I'm pretty sure they're showing us Darren's dragon for the first time.
Okay.
If not, we've got a couple things that I need clarified, which is, it is what it is. But, so they do, Rhaenyra has 6 dragons, soon to be 7, with Caraxes, and then 8 if Rhaena claims the wild dragon, versus Dreamfire, Vhagar, and Darren, whoever Darren's dragon is.
That's just not enough. The math is not mathing, 3v8 No. A 4v7 if one flips? Still no. Like two, it has to be two flip. 5v5, like it's two dragons have to flip, I guess.
Yeah, Vagar is a lot though.
That's
Vagar's
fair.
tough.
That's
like,
fair.
That's,
okay. Vagar counts as basically two. Like,
yeah, I mean, as long as they hold on to Vermithor, and I mean, like the real problem is that Ulf is riding Silverwing.
a quarter, a half of a dragon with Ulf. It feels like, it's a.
Vagar is going to cook his ass. He is as good as dead. You know, like I know we talked about how we think Ulf, because we want him dead, he'll live. I think this is one of those times they
where
subvert
it is
that expectation.
just.
I think it's just he's not built for this.
Yeah, no, he's
not. He's not supposed to be out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like throwing a fucking college redshirt freshman on an NBA basketball court. Like, they're gonna get fucking cooked. You don't belong out there. You know?
Yeah. Adam hits him with the like, oh, the time will come to see which one of us will be the cow. You know who the coward really is, and like,
well, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. We will get to all this, but it does look good for them right now. But Corliss is like, we got to capitalize though. You know, we got to capitalize, or else it won't be worth anything. And Rhaenyra concedes his point. She's like, I don't like what I'm hearing, but I do agree. You are correct. And later on, when they are ready to set sail, Corliss commends Alan on his service, but says that he needs to step up. You know, be a leader, buddy. Get out there, speak up. You know, I remember having this conversation with my father multiple times as a football player, and as an athlete, being like, come on. Get them going, you know, like they listen to you, rally them, you know, get them going, and me being like, okay,
yep,
you know, not sure, that's
yes,
I guess I can do that, you know, it's always been such a funny thing as a former athlete and everything. I always had the toughest time listening to people who are my age. People my age cannot get me going. They can't rile me up. I'm like, there is no reason you should get me more riled than I can rile myself. You know,
I see,
and I don't know if it like only it's kind of similar with fandom. We're getting to an age now where like people who are professional athletes and people who are professional musicians and actors and everything, some of them are younger than us, and I can't be a fan of them. You know, I'm like, I can like your work, you know, I can like what you do, but I'm not going to be like, man, I love this person. I'm like, you're 20, you're a child, you know, like,
I guess that is fair. We could let him cook for a little bit. Yeah. Let him actually get into adulthood. That is,
obviously that will change. It will inevitably change, and it's been that way with athletes for a while, you know, I'm like, I see. Yeah. Again, it's some mental hang up I have where I'm like, I can't look at you like you're.
I know what you're trying in a dugout.
I automatically,
it's got to be coming from the coach. You know, it can't like if it's coming from the coach to get me fired up. That's way better than
if
just
it's coming from a player. I want to thump you on the fucking
like,
forehead.
Okay,
you know,
like I guess
I'm like, what do you think, you better than me? You know, like one of those. But no, all jokes aside, this was one of those things where like if my dad told me that, I would listen. You know, like I'd be like, okay, yeah, you know, I think I can get with that. But it was more translating that to talking to the others that it became like, why would they listen to it? And it goes both ways. It's not just that I'm not going to listen to you. I question why you would listen to me. You know, like it's not just that I think I'm better. No, I don't think any of us are better than any of us. You know, like it's we should work together. It's a team. But regardless, Alan reminds him that he never asked for this. He's like, I don't want to be first. I never wanted to be first mate. I will do it because I'm loyal to you. But I didn't want it. And Corliss is like, hey, there are tons of people who would like to be in your position. So how about you show some fucking respect? And he reminds Alan he just wishes to help. You know, I just want to help. And Alan's like, no. No, you don't. And let me tell you why. All my life I have watched you walk past, treating your natural-born heirs like royalty, while you knew you had bastard sons alone in the streets, cold, hungry, and, as I said before, alone. He says that when the war is over, should he live, he will be what he has always been, alone. And I was like, okay. And that's what's cool about Alan, is that he's still ride or die. You know, like him being like, I will fight for you. You know, like, it is my duty. I am an honorable man, and it is something I will do. I ain't gonna do it with love in my heart, though.
But just
know,
like I will. What I forgot how he put it, but like I will deny any help that you decide to give me. You know, I will gladfully deny the help that you decide to give me. I've made it on my own, and
long enough.
I ended up whenever he got done with this in kind of Sun Corliss here, I put him in the character box. I was like, God damn it,
dude,
I gotta give him
so good.
I gotta give him a character nod. And
I'm glad we got something that was a little more out of him. That was another thing too, is that like I've liked his reservedness, I've liked how humble he is. But to see him get a little riled up, I was like, fuck yes.
Kind of Corliss being like, you're always quiet. You're always humble. You never do anything, whatever. And like kind of in the show as well. He's just
fine.
Yeah, he's always just been, you know, we got him shaving his hair, and that was a cool little addition to him. But this was like, this was awesome. This was
and he has the moment we thought Adam would. You know, like we thought Adam would hold this resentment, but it's almost like Alan would prefer he'd never shown him favor because it shows he was always capable of it, you know, and he just decided he never would, you know, like and now that he is shown his favor, he's like, why haven't you always done this?
Wow.
You know,
that's a crazy mirror that I didn't even see, is like Adam and Alan's meetings with Corliss, and Corliss being like, well done, with Adam, you know, just well done, and kind of leaving, and Adam feeling like he kind of wanted to say something more but didn't quite, but then Alan, the one you expect to be silent and just kind of be like, okay, yes sir, whatever, is the one to actually like speak his mind and say, because he's like,
and that's
you're
why
dismissed.
I think it's cool that Alan feels like he has nothing to prove, whereas Adam does. You know, Adam lusts for his father's approval. Alan feels he doesn't need it, and I really, really appreciate that. I think that's a really great parallel. It makes again Alan and Adam going into next season super compelling characters who I obviously didn't know coming into season 2, and until the last couple episodes didn't really give a shit about. You know, they added interesting stakes, but it was little more than that. So again, the character building being done is super compelling. And next we will head to King's Landing, wherein Aegon lies pained in his bed as Orwyle tends to him, and Aegon appreciates his effort as Larys enters, insisting that they must go. Aemond has gone mad, slaughtering a city in the wake of Rhaenyra finding dragon riders, and he's like, Aemond's gonna kill you, and Aegon's like, how about while he's gone, we just go ahead and take the throne back? How about that? He's like, what then? Like, well, then I'll put Aemond in shackles, and that'll be that. He's like, nah, we're not doing that. We got to go. I've put a ton of my family's wealth in the Iron Bank. Me and you, we can live well. We can live well for a while.
Am I reading something here? Like, am I the only, like, am I picking up something that's not actually there?
Larys is definitely... I don't think you're picking up something that's not there. I understand. There's definitely a vibe Larys at the very least is throwing out there. Specifically the way he says, like, where we can live well.
Yeah.
Like, you and I can live well for a long time.
In the whenever he was giving him all the names, Aegon the rebuilder, Aegon the whatever, and like he was trying to hype him up, you know, because Aegon's very down, whatever. But like there was this kind of air that was like, I'm attracted to you, like in a weird.
No, I think
not weird.
I do think there's something there with Larys. No, but it is weird because Larys is doing it. And, like, anything Larys does is weird. You know,
Fair.
like I don't want to.
Is a creep. Confirmed.
It's not the homoeroticism that's weird. It's the way Larys does it that's weird. You know, like that's
he's
the
trying to
thing,
become
that,
the
like,
king through marriage, dog. I think.
Well,
like,
and there's also the fact that Aegon, I'm fairly certain, is 16, or 17, something like that.
Yeah, the age always I always forget about that. Like that,
I'm pretty sure. I'm like the ages I'm not caught up on. It might not be the case. He might be a little north of 18. but I'm not sure, because like Aemond is the little brother, and he looks like he's in his 20s, like he's so there is an interesting thing going on where I don't know that the age of them strictly matters, but like when it comes to Larys hitting on them, it kind of does, yeah, so like when it comes to his vibe with Aegon, I can't tell if it's just there's something more than he's letting on. I don't know if it is erotic or if it's just like,
I think it's just the position of power. If I can point to anything, like that's his, if there's a fetish or a whatever, it's like he is the king. King, and that's all that he
like. Oh, he's almost getting off on the idea that he is swaying what the king
exactly
does.
His words, his power is having some effect, and maybe
he's getting the king away from King's Landing. Like there's a power he has that, like, I could agree with that, because like I do agree there is a weird vibe he's putting out that is obvious. Like, and again, it is that emphasis on. I put a bunch of my family's wealth in the Iron Bank, enough so that you and we can run away together. Like it's what it feels like. And Aegon questions that. He's like, I don't know, man. Should I just die?
Yeah,
Is it better to live? He's like, my dragon's dead. I'm burnt, disgusting, alone. My dick don't work.
They tell you
every time
that?
I piss, it runs down my leg.
It bursted open like a
burst
sausage,
into flames.
like a fucking like.
God damn.
Poor dude. Yeah, dude. Like he's just not looking too good right now. That's for sure. But
and Aegon never even like. It's funny that this is the last we see him, and then they're leaving. But like whenever he gives them all the names, Aegon goes, "Aegon, the realm's delight." So like he's still got a really funny sense of humor at times.
Is that Tyrion's wine name that he wanted to name his wine?
The Imp's Delight.
Fuck! Oh, dude. Yeah. Okay, I thought like there was. I'm like, I swear I've heard that somewhere.
The Imp's Delight.
The Realm's Delight.
But no,
damn it.
So it's like there's this self-effacing sense of humor he has here, where he's like, he doesn't believe a word that Larys is saying. He's just resigning himself, and him being like, Aegon, the realm's delight. Like you're feeding me a bunch of bullshit, essentially, is like what he's going after. And but he's like, yeah, I guess I'd rather live. Fuck it. But later on, Aemond arrives back in the city and is greeted with more information regarding Rhaenyra's new dragon riders and efforts to rally bastards in the city. And he's like, that must end. How about every ship that comes and goes has to have our approval? How about that? And the guy's like, that's going to kill a lot of people. And Aemon's like, everybody's got to make their sacrifices.
Who's the Lord talking, or the council member talking?
Ironrod.
Yeah, good old Ironrod. I love that they sat with him for a little bit here to make you.
He's like,
okay, holy shit, we've lost it. Like, holy shit, we
are not doing well.
And that it's just little things like that I don't know, like that. It feels very House of the Dragon-esque. Like this feels like their signature. They do things like this, just. And I don't know exactly how to explain it, but it's just letting you sit with him for a little bit more. You're inside his head. It's just, we get the characters.
I like it a lot.
Ironrod isn't just Ironrod, but
there's this next scene between Alicent and Helena that kind of recontextualizes a siege for me. Whenever Helena goes, "Why do they hate us?" And Alicent's like, because they're hurting, and when people are hurting, they look for someone to hate. And she's like, we're not doing the siege. And Alicent goes, yes, but we're the crown. They expect us to break it. And it kind of recontextualized the idea that small folk, if you are being held under siege, if you are capable of being held under siege, and your sitting power can't break it, shouldn't the people holding you under siege be the ones who should rule? Like, kind of like you go, wait a second, they're clearly the stronger ones. They've been giving us food. Hold on. That's who we should probably rally behind. There's like, I never really considered that it's not just
the
idea that's like, oh, wow, we're suffering. It's like, if you can't break a siege, it shows that you aren't the most powerful person.
I see. So it is actually, this strategy wise, it is like if a fucking siege just makes sense. Yeah, you like, and oh man, like yeah, I guess a siege of King's Landing, like they have their doors closed right now, like themselves voluntarily, like right now. But like there's not like an immediate siege that's really happening, right? Like it's just kind of
there's no siege by land.
It's just the fear of a dragon.
There's only a siege by there's only siege by water.
So Team Black actually has a blockade in Blackwater right now, or like in Blackwater, or just out like out a little further.
And I mean, there's part of it in the Gullet and part of it in the Blackwater Bay. It's not like immediately outside the walls of King's Landing. It's far enough out that it's like stuff won't even get close.
Okay.
Like we are setting up siege. Like you won't be able to come retrieve shit if we get something. So they're basically blocking off the free cities. You know, like
and is that just a recent or that's been there this whole season, or like this is like
pretty much.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been there pretty much the whole season. The only thing is that Corliss hasn't been out there.
Okay, so he's just rejoining with his flagship.
His flagship was destroyed,
Okay.
but his men are still out there. Because we saw them raid the ship that gets Massaria. That was a result of their siege.
Okay.
She was trying to gain passage.
Okay.
Past the siege, and they raided it and found her. So like, yeah, it's been established. It's been why the people are suffering in King's Landing, why they're not eating enough, why they're not getting food.
Okay, this makes much more sense.
Because the siege is preventing food from getting in.
Yeah.
It kind of recontextualized the significance of a siege to me. Like, the people lose faith in their sitting government because that sitting government can't break the siege. And if they can't break the siege, they're not powerful enough to rule them, you know? And I think that's...
Come on in, actually. It's like, hey,
I never thought of it that way.
We'll open our doors for you. Come in and take them out. And I guess that's at least the idea of what's going to happen. But I didn't even, I guess...
Hopefully.
I just, for some reason, I thought that since Corliss's ship was just, like, they were working on it, I thought that, like, kind of the fleet was being worked on. Or, like, they didn't even actually have that siege set up, or
Nah, it was
blockade.
Because his ship was destroyed in the Stepstones at the end of season 1.
Okay, yeah, but not the whole fleet.
He really put an end to the ship of Theseus argument when he was like, it's a whole new ship now.
Yeah.
You know.
That's true. It is.
You know.
And it's better than new, and a whole new name, and it's like it is no longer the old ship, but
yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's I loved this scene between Alicent and Helena where it's all befuddling to Helena, but Alicent is completely resigned, and Helena's like, man, I was really happier before I was queen. And in that moment, Alicent's like, you want to get out of here?
Yeah. Do you want to leave? Do you want to fucking go?
And Helena's like, she smiles a little bit. She's like, I never really considered that. Can I?
Really?
You know, she's like, where would we go? But like, she's clearly excited by the prospect of leaving. But right then is when Aemond comes in, ready to enlist Helena's dragon in the cause. It's time to fight. You know, come on, let's do this. And she refuses. She won't kill. Another reason Helena might be my top 2 characters of the season. Are Alicent and Helena, which is kind of insane. Did not think that was going to happen. And third, funny enough, Alice Rivers. Dude, I'm like,
how is it no one on Team Black? What the fuck? You're like, yeah,
right? Like
what?
that is the team I love. You know, I'm riding for them. But like the route Jace has gone the last couple episodes, while I understand it, I'm like, quit being a pussy, bro. Like, no, but like, I get it. But like, quit being a pussy. You know, like
your logic
it's
somewhat
fine.
makes sense, but like, all right, come on, let's.
No, it fully makes
like,
sense. No, like I 100% get where you're coming from,
what?
but not the fuck up. You know, like the way Bela puts it to him, like, prove yourself, then, guy. Come on, you know, like that's exactly. Quit wallowing and go do something. You know, like you want to prove yourself worthy, be fucking worthy. You know, but. Yeah, so like Jace is back on the rise, but my favorite characters of the season, Alicent, Helena, Alice. I mean, like
it's
that
crazy.
That was,
wow.
yeah.
But you're right. I mean, it definitely Helena is probably she is my number one. Like
in terms of the rise, the trajectory of a character going from the lowest point to the highest point, and my favorite characters, it's got to be Helena. As far as the characters that existed in season 1.
The consistent, like Alice was kind of the one I was always curious about throughout, because there was just a lot of mystery going on with her. But Helena was like the long span mystery. It was like she's like, what the fuck is going? Like I mean, she was just so mysterious.
She's like shadow agent for Team Black too, which is cool.
Yeah.
Like, she's working in the dream realm for Team Black, which is like, what the fuck? I don't know. I dig Helena. I like her a lot. So, I loved this scene. I love the way Alicent holds it down for her. She's like, no. I don't play about Helena, okay? Like, you come for Helena, I'm going to kill you. You know, like, do not fuck with me on this. And I really appreciate it. She's like, oh, what's up? Oh, no, you're a failure. Oh, no, you can't beat Rhaenyra, you little bitch. You're just an evil, maniacal fuck.
You went and burnt down a city. You're fucking so mad. Chill the fuck out.
What's up, big man?
Yeah, like,
what's up, big man? Now you want to corrupt your little sister, the one who needs protecting the most? And he's like, if she can't protect herself, who's going to protect her? And she's like, you, dumbass. Thump on the fucking forehead. Like, I love the whole, like, Alicent just destroys him here. All perfectly. And she immediately leaves and is like, I need your help, Maester Orwyle, and I love that this came together. I love that Orwyle ended up being just the realest motherfucker alive, being like, I got you, queen.
I've been waiting for you to say this, honestly. He's like, I have everything prepared, actually. Let's go. It's ready to go.
Frankly, you're just going to show up at Dragonstone. You won't even know how you got there.
That's true. We don't even know. We have no clue. Yeah. It's just set in motion. Go ahead. But
she's like, Orwyle, I need passage and your discretion. And he just looks at her. He's like,
you've come to the right guy.
Like, I got you.
Yep, you've come to the right guy.
He's like, all these people step all over me. I don't give a fuck. I'm here to help you, queen. Like, you're my G right here. But I kind of want to save the last bit at King's Landing for the narrative that unfolds chronologically down there with Daemon, because it's right after that vision.
Okay,
let's see, where is that? I'm copy and pasting something now. Okay,
that is true.
Sorry.
Would be good to wait until then, because I would let the seals loose. That is for sure. I'm
like, it all needs to go together. And I when we get to Dragonstone, which is next, we will be taking a couple little detours to Harrenhal and.
Oh yeah, that's right. She does just hop on a dragon and get on over there. Yeah,
So we'll go Dragonstone, Harrenhal, King's Landing, Dragonstone again. That's the rest of the episode. So if you would, we will head to Dragonstone next, where we see Jace impeding upon Hugh and Ulf. Ulf is being an absolute ass, and Hugh is trying to temper him, get his shit together. I like that they've shown us that Hugh and Ulf have like a little bit of a history. Like, they used to kick it at the same bar and shit. He's like, Ulf, god damn, man, we are not back home. Like, you got to conduct yourself with some decorum, brother. And Ulf attempts to find common ground with Jace. He's like, sup, my fellow bastard. What's up, buddy? Get them to try to tell us we're not Targaryens, man. How about it? We ride
dark
dragons.
As it comes, just as they said it would be. And I was just like, oh, man.
I'm like, you are playing this completely wrong, Ulf. Chill the fuck out. And Jace shows him how he's playing it wrong. He's like, get your shit together, or I'm going to have you hanged and fed to the dogs, man. And he also doesn't realize it's Prince Jace.
Yeah.
Initially, Hugh's like, "That's Prince Jace Valerian, buddy." And Ulf's like, "Oh, your prince, my prince. I apologize. What are you doing here?" And He was like, he fucking lives here, buddy. You know, like
Yeah, it's his castle. Yeah, has this shit just really not hit him? Like, has he just kind of, or is he
again? I am certain Ulf is not Targaryen. Like I have no doubt in my heart that he has no Targaryen blood in him. I think that's why he's so quick to be like, yeah, tell them to tell us we don't have Targaryen blood, huh? You know, like I think he's projecting really hard. And so I think that there's not an ounce of royalty in his blood, and I think that that's why everybody else conducts themselves with a certain degree of pride. And his is just hubris, and it's really cool. I like the dichotomy. Regardless, while I hate the fucking character, he's adding an interesting element to Team Black. That's true. Because if he was conducting himself like Hugh, I would have no concerns about Team Black. Ulf is like 100% of my concern with Team Black. I'm like, whatever happens with Silverwing is going to be a problem. Like if Team Green goes, we will pay you to fight for us, he will say yes.
You know, probably like that true. Or make me a knight, give me a title, like make me a knight, or he's like all worried about like titles and stuff.
Asshole.
He's like it is crazy. It is nuts how he is playing it, because like if he doesn't have Targaryen blood in him, you'd feel like he'd like be very reserved or be
take
like
a back
seat,
and
like just let the others.
Well, I think that's. I think he's over projecting himself to compensate for it. Like he's like, I can't be touched, kind of. Like I think there's this idea that he knows he's not Targaryen,
to act Targaryen,
so
yes, it is just I have to act like this is what a Targaryen would act like if I was a
this
dragon.
This is what royalty
rider.
does,
right.
Like he's only seen royalty be spoiled little brats, so he's being a spoiled little brat, But regardless. Jace tells him that Vhagar has murdered thousands at Sharp Point. He's like, y'all prepared? Or are you just making yourself fucking easy? And Ulf's, damn, sorry. Sorry. And Jace is like, all right, get the fuck out of here. And they go. But later on, Jace is sulking and is found in his mother's study by Bela, who attempts to get him off his ass again. She's like, I know what it is. I know what you're talking about. I get it. They suck. Mm-hmm. Ulf sucks. Hugh's cool. Adam's fine. Like they're fine. But like Ulf fucking blows. I'm sorry you got to deal with him. It's like if you're worried about them impeding upon your claim, prove yourself. Show them who you are. Like let's get it going. And I like Bela and Jace a lot. I appreciate that Bela can be candid with him about the parentage thing. Like her being like, you think you're the first lord that wasn't born of like your natural born father, like it's fine, like you aren't the first, you won't be the last, and you are still royalty. Like who cares?
He goes from expecting people to talk to him all professional and lord, with all the pleasantries and stuff, but then it is nice whenever you have your wife to kind of remind you and humble you a little bit. It's like, hey, like you're talking up a big game here, man, but you don't got to claim unless you claim it. Yeah, you gotta do something, man. And yeah, it was this. It's. I hope. I don't know. I feel like she has been this nice kind of just steady flame, like for Jace, and I hope that. I guess she's been on the kept parole. I don't know, whatever you want to call that. I really hope
they grow up. Like I just hope they make it to adulthood. A specific, like, I don't have a lot of faith Jace is going to. I think we're liking Jace too much. I think he's getting to be a little bit too hot-headed. I think he's getting to be a little too prideful, and I think that's going to lead him into a fight he can't win. Like I think that's ultimately what's going to happen. And he'll die. Most of them will die. I'm just really hoping Bela makes it out. But she's a Velaryon, so we know they don't last.
Yeah, the end game is all death. So it's just the few bloodline or the stragglers that continue the bloodline. So yeah, it's a.
I mean, they could get married before he dies, and she could become Bela Targaryen. So it's like, maybe they do make it out, just not under the name Velaryon. So like,
it's possible. I guess. Yeah. His hair just reminds me so much of Kit Harington's hair, like the black and just the curl. I don't know. It'd just be nice if this is.
Well, he's about the age and stature book Jon Snow is supposed to be. Like, he looks the way Jon Snow in the books is supposed to.
Wow.
Kit Harington carries himself a little bit differently. He's a little older, like they knew they wanted an older actor. They aged everybody up by about 3 or 4 years when it came to the beginning of that show. All the kids were aged up by several, like fucking Bran at the beginning of the first book is like 6.
Yeah, he's not 6.
He's like, no, yeah, he's 9 or 10 or something, like it's, so like they did that for all the characters, but this is like the image of Jon Snow. So I think that's purposeful. I don't think they are doing like I don't think it's just like happenstance that he looks like Jon Snow. I think he looks like Jon Snow because he's supposed to emulate Jon Snow. Kind of in an interesting way where the bastard raised by Targaryens versus the Targaryen raised as a bastard, which I think is a cool inverse of them.
Oh, damn, that's sick. Yeah, that was cool. That was the first time that one's been put together for me. And all the acolytes doing it. We're getting all these yin yangs everywhere in all the media. I'm down with it. I love it. Yeah, these it's poetry, I guess. It is just, it's better whenever
like
it rhymes.
It rhymes.
But
later on at dinner, Ulf continues to show off just how disrespectful he is, and Rhaenyra poses a toast to her new fighters, saying that one day when she has her throne, they will all be knights. It will come at a cost, however. They will learn and they will ride in 2 days' time. They're all like,
we thought we were just
2
learning
days?
Valyrian, or like learning High Valyrian and like learning how to ride.
We are going to, like, a week ago, I was just bulling in King's Landing at a bar. You're telling me I'm going to ride a dragon into battle?
Ulf was
in 2 days.
Ulf was making the weapons to kill the dragons. Now he is going to fly against those very weapons he built. And that's a scary thought. That's I don't.
It is. Especially if you are Hugh. You're like, you know what those weapons are capable of. In fact, you built several of them.
He knows
like
they're good. He's like, damn, I fucking built that. I know it works well. And yeah.
However, that might give them a good insight as to what they might be able to do to avoid them to a degree, like what their weaknesses are. I hadn't
there's a
considered
certain
that.
angle they can't go up, so there's a blind spot for them, or I don't know, something like that. And he's like, "Yo, we gotta fly here."
I'd dig that.
That'd be
I'd like that. I'd like that.
But
I
didn't think of Ulf's little, or not Ulf, Hugh's little, maybe insider,
inside information
if it could help.
But yeah, Rhaenyra's like, so we're going to strike, we're going to hit Old Town, we're going to hit here, we're going to hit here, we're going to kill thousands, it's not going to be pretty. And they're like, so we're going to kill innocent people, just checking. And Jace is like, it can't be helped, got to do what we got to do. And Ulf continues to be an absolute fuck to nobody's pleasure, and Rhaenyra calls him out, but he acts like it's all jokes. He's like, hey, fuck it, man, y'all could gain from a sense of humor. Shit, I'm just playing.
And I agree with him a little bit, but like not when you're discussing killing thousands of innocent people. And
like a knight conducts himself with decorum at the queen's table. He's like, make me a knight then. I'm like, you have done nothing worthy of being a knight yet, sir.
You lucked into your dragon,
you stumbled into a cavern to a dragon that hasn't seen people in forever. She was probably just super excited to see anybody, man. In fact, she just kind of shoved you down a couple of times. You didn't have like a normal connection. Like, Silverwing might toss this motherfucker off her back when she feels like it,
this is just a temporary rider, just to get her out of the cave, and to get her some
She's
fresh
like,
air.
I need to see the world a little bit,
But, Ulf, I hope he dies, and that's the only reason I think he won't. I'm more in the camp that he just somehow doesn't, but he should, because of how bad he's just making it seem, he should just get instantly vaporized. It would be.
I hope
it'd be
he
nice.
does. I think it would be so funny. But it is then that a raven arrives from Harrenhal. Lord Simon Strong says he has reason to suspect treachery. And Rhaenyra's like, fucking A, goddamn. I suspected, but didn't want this. I've forgotten, kind of. Let's go. I love that she turns back and is like, Adam, my dude, let's go. I love that Adam's kind of her homeboy. I know it's just like the first one she met. But I do think it's kind of cool that he rides like Sea Smoke, who was Laenor's dragon, and there's like maybe a connection that reminds her of her best friend husband.
I didn't even, I guess I didn't think of, I was thinking it was more to, because Jace had a react, Jace was like, kind of like you picked Adam, like this. We're not even going to battle. We're not even going to anywhere. Well, maybe Daemon could be doing something, but
and that's something they've really, really emphasized is that Rhaenyra, she is not playing after Luke's death. Like that is really why she wanted more dragon riders. Like yes, they had just enough dragons to be outnumbering Vhagar, but it wasn't enough. But it might have been. It might have been enough. What was it? 4 versus 1?
Yeah, like they could. Like Jace was just never on the table for her after Luke just gets eaten instantly. It's like, yeah, no, Jace is never flying again. And
now that she has 3 expendable riders.
Yeah, come with me. Yeah, it's like I'm not picking Jay.
And that's what sucks about Adam is that it's like she's like we bonded first, but like there is a little bit of a degree to like she's picking them because she is more like, of course she's more okay with them dying than her son. It's not that they're expendable; it's that they are expendable by comparison to her son and heir. But. Yeah, no, and so, but I do think, again, it's not like she'd be like, Ulf, let's ride, like, so it's still somebody she trusts. It's not, so like, I appreciate that her and Adam's like connection on the beach was like, you know what, you're my dog now. Let's roll. I fuck with it. But, we'll next go to Harrenhal, wherein Alfred Broom arrives at Harrenhal to check in on Daemon, and he asks to speak in private, and he essentially immediately turns cloak. He's ready to jump ship. Whenever you say the word, sir, I'm riding for you. And Damon's like, man, I did not think it would be that easy. You sure? And he's like, yep, let's do it. And Simon Strong watches on in secret. Another really important part of this is that Alfred Broom hears whispering in the Godswood.
Yeah.
And I think it's the first time Damon's like, oh, fuck yeah. He's like, thank God, it's not just me.
Okay.
Did you hear that? And Damon's like, yep. He's like,
that's probably more. I was like, why put that detail in there? And I was trying to just think of what it was for. That makes more sense to me. I was trying to think of like, is there are they trying to say that Alice or there's something going on that we aren't aware of right now with this, and whatever. And I was trying to figure. I'm like, what the like.
No, I think it was just mystical whispering, kind of showing that it's not just Alice, although we know Alice is doing things, she is obviously using the power of the haunting mechanism or she's utilizing their location to amplify her abilities, I think is kind of how I take it.
That's true. I guess she does say she's like, this place has omens or for the people who seek them, something like that. So I guess I like that reason.
Then whenever they talk like at the Godswood here in a second, and Alice is like, oh, you don't scoff anymore. I think it's because he's like, well, now I've seen it affect somebody else other than me. So like,
okay, that makes.
Originally, it was just me losing my fucking mind. Now it's other people are experiencing weird shit. Whatever, man. I don't care. This place is fucked up.
That makes sense.
Okay. That's kind of how I take it. But Simon Strong watches on in secret. Immediately sends that raven to Rhaenyra. But in his bed that night, Daemon wakes with Alice at his feet. Doesn't think anything of that. He just wakes up and is like, sup, witch? Can't sleep? And she's like, nope, going to the Godswood. Come on. And he's like, all right, let's roll.
I guess we're going to the Godswood. And I was like, okay.
Oh, and there's always that option where it's like, could just be a vision. Can't really tell. But then, like, it's obvious that visions blur with reality sometimes because, like, he'll be sitting around a table. His ex-wife will appear, it's so, like, the visions and reality do blend. And I think this is one of those examples. I think he's definitely actually in the Godswood, but he sees that weird deer person fucking thing.
Whatever. And whatever that was. That this is.
Well, I was trying to connect it back to like
the first Baratheon.
The Baratheons, the White Hart that Rhaenyra saw in the woods.
It's a good omen.
In
That's
season
right.
one.
It's
Like, I was like, maybe there's something there, but like, I can't really make sense up or down of it. I don't know.
The white
what they're
stag.
trying
That's
to
pretty
say.
good. That I because it was white, right? Like it was kind of like, or was he? Did he have white fur or what?
Couldn't really.
Yeah,
tell.
I guess it was.
I mean, I couldn't
I think
tell.
it
Like
was.
the cloak shimmers because of moonlight, but it might not be white. It could be black furred, and that's the part that's shimmering. You know, like that's why I'm like the lighting doesn't do it any favors. It's obviously a human deer hybrid thing, so like
Yeah,
it's. I don't know what the fuck is going on
supposed to be
there.
weird. It is just like a to know.
And it's one of those things where like a deer is obviously a very specific choice. If it had been a goat guy, I'd have been like, now this is weirdly connecting to the goats he's been seeing around the halls, you know, like there's something, but like it's a deer guy, so it's just I don't know what that means. I wouldn't know what it means if it was a goat guy, but at least then I'd be able to go like
there's
the devil,
somewhat of a connection.
you know, like
there's something
the
there.
fucking Satan, you know, but yeah, no, just some guy who looks like a deer, and he's basically resigned himself completely to the oddities of the castle. He's like, oh fuck, man, all right, that's freaky as shit, but okay.
Yep.
And she takes his hand and says it's time to show him what it's all been for. He has always sought to command his own fate, but today he is ready. That's specifically what she says. He is ready. And he touches the tree, and it bleeds for him, showing him a vision. It consists of the three-eyed raven, which the internet is taken. It's Brynden Rivers. That is.
Wow.
It is Brynden Rivers, a bastard of the Targaryen family, and according to the internet, I don't know how true this is, a descendant of Rhaenyra and Daemon is the three-eyed raven.
Whoa. Really? Oh, okay. Rivers. I immediately put together Alice and Daemon. Like this is just Alice and Daemon's kid, because we theorized that maybe she just, you know, they were in the same bed. It wasn't weird that maybe she has his baby in him right now and it's cooking, but because Rivers is just, I guess, like, the bastard name.
There didn't seem to be anything sexual about it, though. Like, so, like, I agree with your take that it was just like Daemon waking up and being like, "Fucking A, man, I've been having weird ass dreams at night." You know, like
she's just kind of watching him sleep. I guess, like,
yeah,
I wouldn't. Yeah, that would be because it is a very. Man, this vision is going to be very interesting to pull apart. Because, I mean, there are parts that are just like, it's the Game of Thrones shit. We're seeing Dany, which is, like, really cool. And then, like...
Well, he sees the Song of Ice and Fire, you know? Like, that is what he sees, you know? And he sees slain dragons, him stepping through their blood, him falling through and drowning, seeing the three eggs that consist of Drogon, Viserion, and Rhaegal, sees them hatched around Daenerys' body, and after that, he sees Rhaenyra on the throne. So I think it's just kind of like for us to continue, for us to fight the White Walkers, who we seem to see a young version of the Night King, which is funny because he has hair and everything.
Are they bringing him back? Like... What I don't
know,
I would really hate it if they're like winter, like there's not a winter in between the winter we know, like okay, like
not that kind of winter. There is a winter because the seasons naturally change, but there will not be another threat of the Long Night. If there is, I will have to call it not very good.
The new Night King was the only thing that scared me. That was the only thing that was like, oh, wait a minute. Like, why didn't they just show...
Yeah, because it is just different enough. But, like, the Night King is an ancient entity. They make that clear in Game of Thrones. The Night King was created by a child of the forest. And it is that guy who becomes the Night King. I'm guessing the Night King just one day decided to fashion himself crown of horns and shaved his head, and that was that, you know.
Because I didn't know if this would be the opportunity where we get the Night King's backstory, sort of like we know how he's created, but how he does don his crown, how like what if there is shit going on up there like at all, and does a a dragon can a
They don't cross the threshold.
they just decide not to, right? It's like they say fuck no.
I guess,
and
that's interesting. That it's interesting that the dragons refuse to for like Jaehaerys and his wife, because Daenerys gets Drogon to fly the fuck up there, and all 3 of her dragons. That's how they die, or one of them.
And
dies,
maybe they're destined. That is what they are supposed to do.
It's prophesied,
so maybe in every other dragon they have to stay alive to keep those dragons alive. So I don't know, but the new look of the Night King just made me think, do they do that just for this vision, or do they do that because he will come back in season 3 in some way, like seasons 3 and 4? Is it a character in it, or is it just for the vision, just because
I don't think so. I think it's so that Daemon is fully in the know on A Song of Ice and Fire. I think it's so he's fully in the know on the prophecy. He got the breakdown of it without being told it by Rhaenyra or Viserys.
Mm-hmm.
It plays out exactly as Viserys says it would. Like, he's like, this is how we must. Because he looks at the 3 dragon eggs. He sees a naked woman in flames, silver-haired. Could be Rhaenyra. He doesn't fucking know. Like, he doesn't know that's a descendant of them. And maybe this is confirmation that it's a descendant of Rhaenyra and Daemon. That Daenerys is their line. Which I think is compelling. But they're like. So I don't really know. However, the next part is the most important part of the vision for me, where behind him in the throne room, Helena tells him, "It's all a story. You are but one part of it. You know your part." And Daemon reemerges, shaken by what he has seen, but granted new purpose. He hears once more, "You know what you must do." Now, the Green Seers, Alice and Helena, they are who's been working together.
Yeah. They have
That's
to be.
where my money's at.
They kind of have to be. Like,
that's where my money. They are who is like all the stuff that's happening to Daemon. I am almost certain that when Helena and Alice go to sleep at night, they are just like broing the fuck out. Like trying to figure out how to sway the realm in the way that it needs to go.
So what the fuck is she? Is she the 3-eyed raven? Like, just straight up right now, she, like, Helena. I'm talking Helena now. Is there a 3-eyed raven? Is there even one yet? Like, do we see the birth of the 3-eyed raven? Like even is there even one that is currently sitting down there? Like, I don't know. It hit me that, like, do they even have to be in the tree?
Maybe the prophecy is more that the Night King is coming no matter what. In order for the 3-eyed raven to come about, who is the enemy of the Night King who results in his downfall, like, not just that the Targaryens need to be on the throne, but you and Rhaenyra need to rule so that your descendants result in the 3-eyed raven and Daenerys, and
yes. So, like, Bran's lineage has to be everyone's lineage. I guess, like, it's everything's predestined at that point. I guess, which is whatever. But we're in the fantasy world. But, like,
well, and that's the thing too, is that, like, I think it only goes so far. I think that when the 3-eyed raven prior to Bran comes about, he's got a new task at hand. I think it is a little bit of a little by little not necessarily destiny, but they still have to make it happen. Because this vision makes it seem like Helena and Alice are directly pushing Daemon down a route they feel he needs to go. Specifically Helena. Like, Helena is there. You know, like it's not like an image of Helena. It's not a mirage of Helena. We cut to Helena in the exact same outfit she's in the vision and locked the fuck in. You know, like she is.
That's where she is. Like, yeah, like she, whenever she's stumbling or like on the floor saying her random ramblings, she's probably just in this mode. She's fucking in, you know, like whenever we see Bran warging, his eyes obviously go up and it's clear. But I think Helena, it's just like, is it the same thing? Is it? What is the? I don't know what kind of power she's functioning with. Like it's. The three-eyed raven's the only thing that
it's different than the green seers because, I mean, like it would be cool if like we see her have like a seizure, and it's like Jojen, like, you know, the visions take their toll is the way it was framed for Jojen. You know, like if she keeps having these visions, will it eventually take the toll on Helena where she starts seizing out and everything? Because right now that I don't feel like she is the three-eyed raven. You know,
she's the start. Like, this is why I feel like there isn't one right now, but we've known that he's like an ancient fucking dude that's been around ever since the Night King's been around. So that would mean the Night...
We actually don't know that.
Do we know? Did they say when the Night King was created? Like, he's ancient. Like, he's...
Yes, he was created so the children of the forest could battle the first
so
men.
We know for a fact
and
he's stapled in time as ancient.
Is old.
But I guess the three-eyed raven is...
The three-eyed raven's origin is unestablished, specifically because it's different from the three-eyed crow in the books. Like, the three-eyed crow is established. We could probably try to figure it out from there. But the three-eyed raven, as far as canon to the show, is completely different because there's not even a Night King in the books. You know, like, they are doing a completely different thing with this prophecy.
Wow.
Like,
I feel like maybe we are seeing the origins of the three-eyed raven. Like, this is the origin of it. And it's whatever Helena's power that it is.
I mean, they are centering the prophecy. The prophecy is the crux of this show, which is not what I anticipated. I thought it was just going to be a fun little, you know,
like
this is why the Targaryens must sit the throne. It's something we pass from generation to generation.
No,
that's all it is. No, like it is now the crux of why Daemon has declared for Rhaenyra. It is why Rhaenyra is fighting to be on the throne. It is why Alicent thinks Aegon's supposed to be on the throne. At least initially, you know, like it's why she now understands she was wrong, you know, like it is the crux of this show. And I think that Helena becoming more and more important to that is really, really cool. I hope that there is something in the capacity that relates to her. Maybe there's something to the idea that, I mean, we know the three-eyed raven, his reach goes beyond time. He doesn't have to be alive to be influencing this.
That's true.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it could be Brynden Rivers, the three-eyed raven who trains Bran, who knows what needs to come, so he is going back and influencing this so that it results in him, so that he can train Bran. You know, like it could be that, you know, like, so
oh man,
the prophecy stuff gets so fucking muddled. Regardless, the cool idea is how Helena or Alice or these green seers or they are connected to that. However, Helena engages with that, because it almost seems like Helena is, you know, she's not all seeing, she's not all knowing. But she's not
damn
far
close.
off.
Like she jumping a little bit, but like she saw Aemond burn Aegon.
And there's like a reveal in her, like she's kind of showing herself a little bit. Like and that is the next scene. So if you'd like, we can go ahead and get into it. We will go back to King's Landing now after Daemon hears "You know what you must do" in Helena's voice. We cut to her on the patio of a castle. Helena watching over the city, having just granted Daemon a visit. And Aemon comes to speak with her. They need to protect their claim. She must fight. And he says that their mother is not a dragon rider. She can't understand what call they answer to. And she asks, "What if I refuse? Will you burn me like you did Aegon?" And Aemon's like, "What? Huh? Excuse
Who told
me?"
you?
And
Yeah,
she's like, "I saw it. I know you burned him. I know you let him fall. I saw it all." And Aemon's like, "What you say is treason. You know, like you're accusing me of having committed a treasonous act. Is that what you want to stand on?" And Helena continues, "Aegon will be king again. He is yet to see victory. He will sit a wooden throne. And you will be dead." I see where your head's at. And you will be dead.
And so will she. It's long in the future. That wooden throne is long, long, long in the future. Like, wait a minute. Like, as in Bran's wheelchair? Like, is she saying that all of this is eventually to get this bloodline, Aegon, to Bran, to when Bran's wooden?
I don't know.
Like that.
But she does say, "You will be dead, swallowed up in the god's eye, never seen again." I don't know precisely what that means either. There's the god's eye.
Swallowed up in the...
Obviously, with Aemon's whole eye thing, it's very particular. Helena dropping that Aegon will be king again. Of note, Rhaenyra has a son named Aegon.
Okay. So yes, it is still not the Aegon we know.
And we are we are going with the whole, like, she is still mystical about shit.
But the wooden throne,
and there is reason.
Though, why would Rhaenyra's Aegon?
I'm going lineage now. Aegon will sit the throne again. And what's he say? He is yet to see victory. So it will be a long while yet before that Aegon sits the throne. Further on than that, their lineage, someone will sit the wooden throne. Brynden Rivers sitting in the three-eyed raven's wooden tree throne. That's kind of how I take it.
Okay. That still would be,
and then that will result
quite the throne. I guess the wooden throne. My immediate jump was Bran, and just
No, and I mean, like, that's very sound as well. The only thing for me is that he's not a descendant of Targaryens or Aegon, and that's why it kind of falls apart for me. However, what they are talking about will result in Bran sitting on the throne. So, like, there is a little bit of there could still be a connection there.
I wonder, because I guess my first initial wooden throne was that this Aegon that we know is just going to come back in a wheelchair and rule again in his wooden throne. But then I was like, oh, Bran, or whatever. Because don't they say, like, that they got that wheelchair from an old design somewhere?
Yeah.
God damn it. I mean, an old design from, like, if it's in the Red Keep, like, I mean, that...
They said it was a Targaryen. Yeah, they were like, it's an old Targaryen design.
So, I guess it could be Rhaenyra's Aegon. It could be crippled. I mean, Rhaenyra's Aegon could damn well get fired up as well and become crippled, and I guess have to sit there, but...
I was intrigued. Swallowed up in the God's Eye, never to be seen again. The God's Eye is the largest lake in the Seven Kingdoms.
Oh, okay.
And it is directly south of Harrenhal. It is the body of water Harrenhal sits by.
Wait, but how does Aegon get there? Oh, Aemond. Hello.
Aegon.
Aemond.
Aemond will
Hello.
die.
Yeah, I'm too much on the wooden throne. I'm like, wait, how the fuck does Aegon get there? No, yeah. So Vhagar? Does that mean Vhagar goes down?
I mean, Vhagar's got to go at
That's
some
true.
point.
They go down together, you think?
They all got to go, you know? I imagine so. I don't think Vhagar has another rider post Aemond. I think this will be it. I think Vhagar's got to go regardless. Kill this motherfucker.
This is true. The Lake of Harrenhal, that'll be a beautiful shot. I'm kind of seeing it now.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. There's the reason it's called the God's Eye is because there's a little body of land in the middle of it, so it looks like an eye.
Okay. My brain was like, is the comet that is shooting over in Game of Thrones the God's Eye? I'm like, are we about to get in a black hole or some shit? I'm like, what the fuck are we get into? A lake, much more reasonable. That's pretty cool. But I think.
Yeah, no,
I cut out there. I think. I don't know. It said my connection was unstable.
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, no, your recording will pick you up, but I had a tough time understanding any of it.
Are we back now?
Kind of.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of maybe.
You're still.
Man, what the heck is going on? It was so good.
Yeah, it happened really suddenly.
Like, yeah,
it was doing so good.
My battery's not low.
Somebody in your building must be eating Wi-Fi.
I guess. I don't know what the heck. Man, I can't wait till all this is fixed. It's gonna. This one stupid part that's in a box at home, and I just need it. But okay. I
don't know. All right. We will continue. I will continue with the breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all that to say, I don't know what the fuck they're cooking with the prophecy. I don't know what the fuck they're cooking with Helena, but I'm extremely excited for it. And Aemon threatens to kill her, but she says it wouldn't change a thing.
Mm-hmm. And that's a very interesting detail there.
Yeah, so like there is a little bit of a predestined thing. You know, there is a little bit of a destiny thing in play. I think she means more directly affecting him. Like, you're going to die regardless. You can kill me, doesn't matter. You will die. You know, like
So I wonder,
that's kind of where my money's at.
I guess maybe the actions of Helena don't matter after this, you know, or maybe she just knows that she is not going to die. Like she's that confident in the future for herself that's like, yeah, well, it wouldn't change anything. Like it actually doesn't matter, but I know I'm not going to die. It's still not going to change anything. But I wonder, I get all of this is just predestined and time, whatever bullshit that I'm trying to like make sense of, which I really shouldn't. But
no, yeah, it's all over the place, but it's intriguing, it's exciting, and it's a lot of fun. Back at Harrenhal, the following day, Rhaenyra and Adam arrive. Rhaenyra enters the bulk of the host after being guided by Simon Strong, and Daemon arrives to meet her. He says he wasn't expecting her, but he does seem pretty happy to see her. He's got a little bit of a grin on his face and stuff, and he says his army is sworn to him. And she asks, but to whom are you sworn? And she makes a show of it. She announces it for everybody to hear. You all bear witness, okay? You know, she's got Cyrax above, like, y'all fuck around, you will get smoked, you know?
I felt like at first, Rhaenyra was kind of like, oh man, I kind of wanted to have a private conversation with you, not in front of everybody, you know? And it's like, it's whatever. But then she finally uses it for her own. She takes a step back and is like, all right then, who do you claim, you know, who do you
serve, good man? Yeah, it's a good moment. And they speak Valyrian then. He tells her he has seen. The world is not what they thought. Winter is coming. They need a ruler to unite the realm, and her father, his brother, chose her. He swears fealty and kneels before her, the one true queen. It is what the realm needs, a united front, and although what is coming is impossible to beat, they must try. His whole army kneels before her, and she tells him that he better never leave her again. He says he wouldn't dare. He's already tried. And he tries to kiss her, but she shirks the attempt.
Yeah, that's...
I like your ex-girlfriend.
That's going to be an interesting conversation to come home to. You know, that does it, because he swore his fealty. Everything's good now, but like, you know, when he gets home, is he going to get a little upset? You know, is he going to be?
I think Damon. I do think now he's accepting his place. I genuinely do. That is what this arc seemed like it was building towards. I'm glad that was actually the conclusion of it. I have a tough time believing he will be the source of problems back home. I think we're good. I think there will still be internal strife. I think that now the romantic relationship will cause strife, not the
political his strife for
like
the crown.
His lust for power isn't the problem anymore. His lust for Rhaenyra might be. I think she's done. You know, I don't think she's into him anymore. I think they've done what they needed to. They have a couple kids. They're good. You know,
it'll be a spectacle relationship.
Yeah, their marriage is political now. It's no longer romantic, and I think I think it'll take some accepting for Daemon.
I mean,
but
he's steadfast in his. I think he's like Viserys. You know, he's like, oh,
I think he's there now. Whenever she's like, "You sound like my father," and he's like, "Yep, yeah, no, he was right."
He's like, well, fuck. He's like, well, actually,
I've been fucking up for years. You know, he's like, I have not been good. I know what is right now, and what is right is for us to be together, a united front. We need to fight them. We got this. And the best way to do that is you on the throne. So let's do this. Yeah. So what sucks too is that the vision shows him. But what he doesn't know is Rhaenyra being on the throne is just the first step towards beating the Night King. The dragons will all die because of this step. You know, the further they go into war, the dragons die. Like that is...
We just know. Yeah, I guess it's like they don't know. Obviously have no clue.
He thinks he's preventing that future. But he is harboring it. He is bringing it in.
That's true. They think dragons are the blood of Targaryen. Like they need to keep the dragons alive just as much as them. So it's like they have no thought that the dragons are going to go extinct, you know, at all. And wow, that.
Well, and the vision shows him a lot of bad shit. It shows him, you know, the army of the dead, a bunch of slain dragons, and then 3 dragons being born. Now, if he has the wherewithal to gather that means the dragons are all going to die and our only hope is someone way down the line who has 3 dragons, I doubt it. You know, I imagine what he imagines this is the way to prevent this is Rhaenyra on the throne. But Rhaenyra on the throne, and maybe that's the case. Maybe that is what the vision's telling him. And that means Rhaenyra doesn't get on the throne.
Just to try. Like you just need to make your best effort to actually get it there. It's like a oracle in the Matrix. Like I told you what you needed to hear at the time, but it might not have been exactly the truth. And I think, who do we trust more? Do we trust Daemon's vision, you know, the prophecy that we know, or do we trust Helena saying Aegon will sit the throne again? You know, like, but it's all cryptic and we don't know which Aegon. So it's like, who are both right? Probably both are, but we can't tell in the immediate future, like right now, what'll happen.
Well, and I think that there's another layer to that vision that I think is kind of unclear, where it's like, obviously it's unclear, it's cryptic, it is, but it shows us the future that does come to pass. And then it shows us Rhaenyra. You know, like, it shows us the future that is going to happen. We know it does happen. And then it shows us Rhaenyra. And in that, Helena tells him, you know what you have to do. You are one small part of this story. You do what you must. Get her on the throne. Does getting her on the throne prevent that future we know is coming? and they fail to get her there, so that future does come to pass.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that could either Rhaenyra being on the throne after knowing what happens could either be a really, really good thing and mean like she is the direct descendant to
She is
Dany
what they
and like
need. Yeah.
she is the one they need, or it's like you saw what was going to happen. Here's what you want to happen and what you want
if
to
you
see.
want
but...
if you want to prevent the horrors you just saw, that's what you need. Because frankly, the Vision doesn't come with a lot of hope.
Mm-mm.
You know, and because I don't know how he interprets the 3 dragons being born, a woman in the flames. You know, like he could interpret that as being their last hope. He could interpret that as being what will save them. He could interpret that as being, because that being how the Vision ends prior to Rhaenyra is important too. And I can't tell if it means you need to get Rhaenyra on the throne so this comes to pass, or if you don't get Rhaenyra on the throne, this will come to pass.
I think since it's happening in Daemon's head, it's very like at first, as a viewer, when it was showing Rhaenyra, I'm like, are we about to get Emilia Clarke? Like I was like, is she?
I did too.
Is she returning? I'm like, holy shit! And so that was my kind of immediate thought. But then I feel like it is just Daemon. You seeing this? You seeing Rhaenyra on the throne will get you to stop at nothing and make you like. He needs to see Rhaenyra on the throne because if he sees Emilia Clarke or Dany, like if she's sitting there and that's who he walks up to, then he knows like, okay, it is way further down the line, and he probably wouldn't really. I don't know if he cares as much. You know,
it wouldn't have
like,
the same weight. Yeah, no, it definitely wouldn't.
So it feels like it's hard just a preventative.
It's hard to tell, you know, like, and I'm concerned that it means if you get Rhaenyra on the throne, this won't happen, because we know that happens. And if
I don't think it means that it will tear down it, like if that like it feels that like that if Rhaenyra sits the throne and that does happen, then everything before is invalid. I think it's just that he doesn't know what's valid or invalid. Like he doesn't know that makes it invalid.
I'm speculating on what the Vision itself is saying, not what it means to Daemon.
Oh, okay.
I'm speculating like the vision they are showing him at all. Does it mean that Rhaenyra sitting the throne will prevent that, or Rhaenyra sitting the throne will bring it about? Because we know it comes about. We know that happens. You know?
We do? That she sits the throne?
No, we know everything that comes before happens.
Oh, okay.
The dragons die, the White Walkers come, the dragons are born, there's a 3-eyed raven who tries to prevent it, all that. All that happens. And we know that for a fact.
This is fact.
Rhaenyra sitting the throne is the part we do not know as fact. You know? So, are they saying that all of that will come to pass if Rhaenyra sits the throne, or all of it will come to pass if she doesn't? And I think that that's the interesting idea right now. All he can do is interpret it. You know, all he can do is go, that must mean that if she doesn't sit the throne, we don't stand a chance. You know? I think that's where he's at. Obviously, that's what he says. You know, he's like, there's only one hope we have. You will unite the realm. It will do it, you know?
But for I see what you're, like for Daemon and the character, it's clear that that's what he's set on. I think his mind, I'm curious what you are the solution.
Yeah,
but
what the real meaning is, because I think, sadly, it's more likely that if she doesn't sit the throne, or trying to find if she doesn't sit the throne, this will come to pass, I think is the more realistic expectation. Yeah,
no, because I'm thinking of the lineage, and it's not possible. Like, it comes from a direct line of royalty, but say they just, like, leave. That is is that a solution that's possible? They just, like, they actually just get up and go, and then the line is still alive, and it can come from somewhere else. It doesn't feel like it feels like it's going to be resolved at King's Landing. Like it's gonna.
It does.
It's not
I mean, because the Targaryens reign until Robert.
Yeah. It has to be and Jon comes from. And the Targaryens they come from. I was trying to think if they were just like one in Essos and like could come from someone or whatever, but no, it's like they come from King's Landing and Storm's End. It's like there's no way for that to be a thing. I think you're right.
I know
it's
what
sad,
it means to Daemon. Daemon thinks in order to prevent that, Rhaenyra needs to sit the throne, and I think that is what the vision is telling him. I think it is saying, like, if you want to prevent this, Rhaenyra needs to sit the throne.
And that's, I mean, if that's all they're giving him, at least in the immediate future, the attempt has to be made to put her on the throne. It might not be that she does. It's just that you need to act as if you are trying to. Like, and I think it is just, we need the dragons to go. Like, it's like, the dragons need to die. Like we can only have these 3 to fulfill this prophecy, and I
that's what's interesting too, is it doesn't show him how to defeat them. It just shows him a future that we know results in their defeat.
Mm-hmm.
But if the gods want to assure the destruction of the Night King, they wouldn't want all the dragons gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like it's... So, like, whatever the higher power is, like, the way things need to happen, do they need to happen that way? You decide how they need to happen.
Why would the Night King ever go south if there's 80 dragons that he has to worry about? The only reason he's like, oh, fuck, let's fucking go. The only reason he can get through the wall is because he has a dragon break it down for him.
Then I ask, why would they ever need to worry about it if he's never going to come south?
This is a valid question.
I'm like,
this is a valid question.
That's
you just keep the dragons alive, But to kill, maybe that's the goal of the gods, to kill the Night King. Are we faced
with the reality that the prophecy does not come to pass? Like,
and we're in a new... You mean like...
I mean, like, with Arya killing the Night King.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that the prophecy was not fulfilled? That there is no... Like, I'm trying to find a better way to say this. Like...
Since it didn't happen exactly like it was supposed to in the prophecy...
Were they supposed to... The future Daemon is shown. I take that as worst case scenario. I don't take that as this is what we want to happen. Are we faced with the reality that they beat the odds? Like, are they trying to recontextualize Game of Thrones as not fulfilling a prophecy, but because of the failing of the prophecy, they actually managed to defy all odds? I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, it's hard to articulate exactly what's in my head right now, because I know I'm not saying it perfect.
Because I know you're not trying to say that, like, the prophecy doesn't come true, because, like, there are events that we see in this vision that clearly, like, come true. Yes. But it's like if it is all just a story, like kind of Helena says, it's just a story to keep everyone kind of maybe focused on the right goal. It's not like this it is hard to put into words, but it's like we all thought Game of Thrones.
I hadn't considered Helena saying it's a story and you are but one part in it. That does make it seem like this is what will happen.
That's kind of, I guess with both of them, with the vision and then Helena kind of, there's a lot of predestined stuff, but I like that idea of if it could be kind of broken a little bit, where it's like, you thought that it was all predestined, but the story itself looks predestined, or I don't know, something like that, where it's like, it didn't actually have to happen this way, but since the prophecy was alive and being said and brought back up so many times that it eventually came true.
Because the prophecy still does come true. they follow Targaryens into battle and they defeat the Night King. They defeat the army of the dead. That is how the prophecy is fulfilled, you know? And it pisses me off that a lot of people have written it off as the prophecy unfulfilled because Arya
Arya's
kills
the
him.
one to do it.
Shut the fuck up. Think a little deeper for 1/2 second, and you realize they are following Jon and Dany into battle, both of which are Targaryens. That is what the prophecy says. That two leaders, or Targaryens, will unite the realm, and they will defeat the coming storm. You know, like, and that's what happens. So, I mean, like, the prophecy does get fulfilled, but I'm curious, like, I'm interested in what they're going to do to play with the prophecy, because we do know it's fulfilled. We do know that the Night King dies. If they're making it a central part of this show, how do they subvert our expectations of what that means, you know?
I mean, it is crazy. There's no way they're actually doing it, but I have to put this out there just in case. If they are going to say Daemon and Rhaenyra, they have changed they have done something to break the we are now in a different timeline sort of thing with Thrones, you know? They're like, and then we can continue with a new story completely. You know, the Game of Thrones, you know, it's still there, but actually we're just starting back a little bit earlier, and it doesn't really make sense to me.
I mean, like,
but...
and also it's like, I mean, I wouldn't, if that was what they were doing, I think they'd make it a lot more clear. I think the vision would have expressly been like, this is the future that will come to pass if Rhaenyra does not sit the throne. Like, they would have said it. They wouldn't have just left it out there. I think this, I don't think they're doing that. This takes place, as the initial title card says, 185 years before Daenerys Targaryen. You know, like, and I think they are standing by that. I don't think it's like, we're going to get a chance to redo season 7 and 8. You know, like, I don't think that's what, we're not doing the sequel trilogy retcon thing that Fandom Menace wanted. But no, I can't blame you for going there, though, because, like, this is mystical enough that it does feel like they are going to play with something interesting simply because of the emphasis on the prophecy. With the emphasis on the prophecy, it does feel like they are going to do something that we don't think is possible, you know? And
because we know everything. Like, that's in order to subvert the expectations, you have to do something. You have to break I don't know. Like, they either have to stand by it 100% and it's just a history show with, you know, they changed some things from the books and whatever, but it's...
And frankly, that won't be a problem. You know, like, there's, like I said, the heart of the show is still the characters. It's still the relationships. It is the intricacies of those intertwining, you know, like, that is the important part of the show. The prophecy just seems to be what's guiding them, you know? So they could still make, obviously, a compelling show and not subvert the expectation of the prophecy. But I do think we're probably barreling towards a reality where we're going to get more of this sort of
mystical.
Helena seems like she is not going anywhere anytime soon. Seems like she is going to be important. As she already is. I'm excited for more mystical stuff, because as much as I love dragons, that was what, like, when it came to the magic stuff in Thrones, that was fun.
Dude,
you know?
Yes, on our rewatch, we were talking more about, like, the Lord of Light and all of, like, and how the gods were functioning and how, like, we never picked up on it kind of before.
Unbelievable that the Lord of Light has never even been mentioned in House of the Dragon.
But we've seen kind of a red... Are we seeing the origins of that religion to keep the prophecy alive? You know, like, is that like because people stop believing in it and, like, no, we need to keep it alive. They're like fire. It's their whole shit. Like, maybe like we see the very beginning, because like Masar or and now I'm getting not Melisandre, Missandei. No, who in House of the Dragon? Rhaenyra's current. Priestess? No, Rhaenyra, the current, like, who Rhaenyra is fucking right now.
Massaria.
Massaria. Okay. Massaria sends someone to King's Landing to start whatever,
red,
and
yeah.
she does kind of wear, but she's not like a red priestess, you know,
No,
like she's
not.
not,
She's
or
not.
whatever. It could be like the very start of it, like to
Mm.
spread the word, to use religion,
You
like
did
fucking
mention
Bene
them-
Gesserit shit.
Yeah, you did mention the fleeing. The red priestesses are known for being from Ashai in Essos. It could be interesting if they end up sending someone to start that religion in Ashai.
Wow, I didn't. That could be pretty cool because we've seen a red cloak, but it was not a red priestess, but made to seem.
I mean, maybe
as if
I'm
it was.
mistaken. Have they mentioned the Lord of Light? Have they mentioned
I don't
a
think
red
so.
priestess?
I don't think so.
Are there red priestesses?
We could be getting the origin of the
House of the
three-eyed
Dragon.
raven and
That religion? If
Yeah.
if it is the, like, that could be.
I don't know if it is something that is ancient. Like, they could be talking about it in Game of Thrones as their origins are thousands of years old as well, and I could just be, spitting on something wrong here, but it feels at least they're kind of trying to plant the seeds, and I could see it, like, to keep the prophecy alive and all of this, like, Alice maybe even somehow connected to it. Like, if Daemon pulls Alice in on her side and then realizes that, like, they can use this prophecy and religion as their claims.
Okay, well, this has never been really, really hardcore established. But Melisandre, right now, according to canon, was born 100 years before the conquering by Aegon.
Is Melisandre in the show right now? Is she the fucking red, like the girl is that Melisandre?
I doubt it. I mean,
Imagine.
that'd be pretty cool.
We see some, like, the necklace get put on somebody, like Melisandre's red necklace or something, and then it's like, she is old as fuck. She takes that necklace off and she's, like that's...
No, she's of an age where she could be a part of this show. But according to the current canon, it's loose. It can be adjusted. She would be 400 years old at the time of Game of Thrones. So she would be 200 now, which means that religion would be well established.
Okay. Yeah. It feels that the red priestesses and that was more ancient, but maybe were they only in Essos? I guess Melisandre, was Melisandre, like, really the only one in Westeros? Because they didn't really have a presence in Westeros other than, or am I remembering wrong?
No, she was the only red priestess in Westeros. Like, most of them reside in Essos.
Yeah, I wonder if they are going to play with some of that, but it feels a lot more ancient than being created right now, at least. But it would be kind of cool if this was the origin and it was kind of like sparking from the prophecy sort of thing. Fuck. I mean, maybe we go to Ashai. Maybe we go to Essos. We have dragons. Have they?
I mean, we've been to Essos as of this episode in the Free Cities and stuff, So, like, it's not a stretch to think we might find our way over there, but
because if it's just that's never we haven't had like Rhaenyra fly over to Essos yet, and does the thought dawn on her, like Dany, like, I can lead over here? Why go? Why do, like, and she just stays in Essos? Like, I didn't want to think of her just leaving and whatever as a possibility, because it did seem kind of far-fetched, but with the Free Cities, with dragons, just, I don't think she gets up and just leaves. That doesn't feel right. Mm-mm. But if that's like the only way to secure the bloodline, that's like the only way I see it, is like, if we keep fighting this war, we will lose, we will die, the bloodline won't be secure, the prophecy will fail, we have to leave. Like, you have to leave. Could
be a backup plan. I imagine she would stick around. but she did just send her kids to Pentos.
Oh. Okay.
Which is in
Okay.
Essos. Yeah, so like,
Uh-huh.
what's confusing about the show versus Game of Thrones is that Game of Thrones established the prophecy as something the Red Priestesses and those that worship the Lord of Light believe in. This show establishes that it is a Targaryen vision from Aegon. Now, was Aegon bequeathed this vision by the Lord of Light? Or, which, if the Lord of Light does exist, would make sense that that is how it happened. Big
Just
brain.
go with it. Go with it.
Is Aegon the Conqueror the Lord of Light? Does he just become God? You know, like
He did the thing.
Yeah,
and people are like, "Holy shit, you have to be fucking God. You're riding a dragon." Like,
yeah, no, like,
holy.
is there some like this religion born of believing in the fire god being brought to Westeros, taking over by fire? Like, is there any chance that the thing is that there's too much mysticism in Thrones relating to seeing visions in the fire and creating fire as though from thin air for the Lord of Light to not be, although it could just be magic, you know, like it could just be magic, but like that's why I'm like, I'm not going with that hard. I'm not trying to like be like Aegon the Conqueror has ascended to a different plane and is now operating as the Lord of Light, you know, like,
but he just in his story birthed a religion, like in just what he did conquering Essos. Is that the first time a dragon has ever been to Westeros as well?
See, I've always wondered that because, like, I don't really know how that'd be possible. If they existed in Valyria and just, like, they just stay home, like, no, I imagine they would have flown around the fucking world, you know, like, so.
Because it
I
could
don't
be,
know.
like, if he's the first to ever bring a dragon to Westeros, then it's even more clear that, like, yeah, religion's going to be born out of that. Like, that's
the thing, though, is that according to the show, like we said, Melisandre essentially brings that religion to Westeros. It doesn't really exist in Westeros. It is an Essos Free Cities religion. Yeah, so like, it would make sense if historically there is a bond between the Red Priestesses of Ashai and the Targaryens.
Mm-hmm. But it probably happened in Valyria. Probably happened a while ago.
Yeah,
like,
that's why I'm like, I don't really, like, I'm not going to go too hard with the idea that, like, Aegon is somehow responsible for an entire religion. I think the religion predates him.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing, is that, like, the show has changed a lot. You know, like, the Night King is the antithesis to all things that are life. That does not exist in the books, which kind of makes everything fair game when you make, like, the god of death a living thing in the world. You know, like, that kind of makes everything fair game. If he is the embodiment of the god of death, it does not feel super far-fetched to say there would be an embodiment of the Lord of Light at some point. You know what I'm saying? And I guess we are going off the assumption he's the embodiment of the god of death. It just kind of makes sense to me.
I mean, who the fuck else? I
guess the embodiment of the Lord of Light is the prince who was promised. That's kind of the point of the prophecy. So... oh, well. Maybe they're just making a point that it's the Targaryens. The Targaryens are, you know, like, that is...
Man,
that is the
but
lineage.
what a thing to kind of get to is that it's just like, you need to keep this one bloodline alive. You need this predestined thing to just happen. And that doesn't feel very, you know, like, it could just be they're giving you the prequel to Thrones and they're giving you all of this cool shit. But, like, it feels it feels like they're trying to build to something with the prophecy, though. That it's like that. I don't know. It's not going to change Game of Thrones. I don't feel like it's going to be like, oh, now I'm going to watch Game of Thrones.
That's why I think the Blacks are trying to prevent the future that does come to pass from coming to pass. Like, that's why that's more the route I think we're going. I think Daemon will eventually really voice what his vision was. You know, I saw dragons slain. I saw an army of the dead. And the way to prevent that from coming to pass is you, Rhaenyra. That is what the vision showed me. You know, like, that is what I anticipate is coming. That's about what he says, you know. That's not in specifics, but he's like, I've seen it. I know that we can't, it's impossible to beat, but we have to try. And you are our only hope. So, like, that is what he believes. That's why I'm like, I can't really fathom another direction for the show to go regarding the prophecy. Like, almost like Aegon's vision of the prince who was promised, needing somebody to fight the war to come, is in opposition to the vision Daemon just saw. Like, I don't think Daemon saw the exact same vision Aegon saw. You know, like, I don't think he just had Aegon's dream, you know, like, so that I don't, it's hard. I mean, prophecy shit. It's weird. It's hard to deal with. But it's fun to talk about. I don't have any clue really what they're going to do with this beyond my expectation is that Daemon saw the future that we know comes to pass, but he thinks they can prevent. And I think that's ultimately where we're going.
Oh man, that's gonna, no matter how it plays out, like season 3, you can't, people that hated the season, you can't say that you're like, it's 2 years, but holy shit, season 3 is going to fucking, like, nothing even really needs to happen for season 3 to be good. So the first 2 episodes can make it good, like, immediately. And it's this, the amount of webs that were spun in this last just little Daemon vision, Helena vision, and then the last little couple sequences that play out.
We haven't even gotten to my favorite scene of the episode.
I forgot we haven't finished the episode yet.
No, we got to go back to Dragonstone, wherein Rhaenyra and Mysaria watch as Ulf and Hugh take their dragons for a spin, and Mysaria commends her for doing the impossible. The gods are on her side, she says. They've given you the tools to win. They favor you. And again, we just speculated for a very long time about whether or not they do. And Rhaenyra chides that it is a cruel joke to make her have to slaughter thousands to win. She cannot imagine it was what her father would have wanted. Mysaria says, well, he left you no choice. You are just. The realm cannot fall to those who crave power over peace. You must prevail. And Rhaenyra asks, but who pays the price? And there's this really interesting fade or focus pull from Mysaria to the dragons in the background, which I think is, you know, they're not just making, it's not just the small folk who will pay the price, but the dragons will die, which we also know, you know, but who pays the price? And the focus pulls from Mysaria back to dragons in the background. Man. The small folk and the dragons.
It's looking grim. The vision does not make me happy.
I mean, but that's the thing, is it was never going to. We know what happens. We know the dragons die. We know that, like, and that's why I'm so fascinated by their capability of telling the story in a compelling way. Like,
why am I
it's
still
not like we're preventing. Yeah, like we're not preventing a future that we know comes to pass. You know, so that's why I'm like, the fact that they've been able to tell a compelling story that makes me hope the future we know comes to pass won't come to pass, just builds this into a bigger and bigger tragedy, and I'm very excited to see how it finishes. But later that night, she lies sleepless in her bed, Rhaenyra, and she's retrieved by her king's guardsmen and led to Alicent in her study. She is here alone and vulnerable, a last attempt at peace, her peace, Helena's peace, and her child's peace. She explains that she spent her whole life believing in the order of things. It's why she resented Rhaenyra. She never really gave a shit. She says she's lost her way, or rather it was taken from her. All that she put her faith in, it's gone. She's no longer who she once was. She's ready to bounce. She's like, I'm good. I'm going to go. I'm going to take Helena. I'm going to take her kid. We're going to go live. And Rhaenyra's like, are you fucking kidding me? You started this. You know, like, you are the reason it's happening. And she's like, no, it would have happened anyway. I just set it in motion, you know? And she's like, okay, sure. And I mean, Olivia Cook, forgive the pun.
Cooked.
Olivia cooked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, dude. I mean, I couldn't go with any. I wanted to spread the love and try to go with someone else here.
I mean,
but
Emma Darcy
man.
would be the other option, because this is the scene for me also. Like this, just getting this cathartic moment between Emma Darcy and Olivia Cook, Rhaenyra and Alicent, and seeing them go toe to toe for what I have a tough time believing won't be the last time.
Hope not.
You know?
Yeah, I hope not. It's kind of.
I guess I couldn't
mirror.
really fathom. Yeah, I couldn't fathom them meeting at all this season beforehand either. But like, I can't really fathom them meeting after this. This feels like. This feels like a last goodbye. We are going our separate ways. This is officially done. You know, like. But maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah, and it's, you know, Alicent or Rhaenyra going to King's Landing asking, hey, we can't end all of this right now. Like, kind of doing the same thing. Alicent's kind of like, well, I don't want to end it and go like, well, she's just being like, I want to get the fuck out of here. You just take your throne. I don't really give a fuck anymore. But like,
yeah, no, that's what's crazy is like she wants to stop the endless war, or the needless war, as she puts it. But the priority is obviously her and Helena and Helena's kid. Like, she's like, I want my peace. I want peace for my daughter. You know, like, I don't give a fuck what y'all do. You know, like, as long as I can find somewhere that I can be good, you know, and I frankly can't blame her, you know, but I loved this exchange, you know, she says she's ready to bounce, and she says she will give her the chance to claim the throne while Aemond is away and Helena is ruling. She will step aside, you can sit the throne, and end this needless war. And she goes, okay, what about Aegon? And Alicent's like, he'll bend the knee. I can try to convince him. Aemond might not listen to me, but Aegon still might. And she's like, you know that's not true. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if he'll bend the knee. I have to kill him. One of me or Aegon has to die. Or else the claim, it still exists. You know, one of us has to die. And I have to take his head in front of everybody. Everybody has to see it. And, you know, she asks she asks Alicent, will you follow through with what you came to do? Or will you shirk at the idea of what I've said? And this is really what gives Olivia Cook the performance.
Yeah.
The way she wells up, puts her hand, like, and just shakes her head, or nods her head. She's like, and then she like immediately puts her hand to her face, and she's like,
what have I just done? Like, I have just told you it is okay to kill my son. Like, it, and you know,
Rhaenyra goes, damn.
Like holy shit. She almost
have changed.
She almost wanted her to say no. Like, almost wanted her to fight and be like, no, you can't kill my kid. And I wonder if that was the answer she was wanting. Like, if it's like, no, like, even spite all of it, but it seems that this is a genuine, like, she's like, no, I do need to kill your kid. Like, it's the way the crown works. Like, there's the slaughtering innocent people in the cities.
A son for a son.
Like that,
Ooh.
that it has to go that way. But the thing that like, the slaughtering innocent people, I don't see how, like, that needs to happen. I think that that's just kind of like a byproduct if the dragons fight. But it seems that they're saying that they just need to, like, go to a city and just fucking light it up and then show their power. Is that what they're saying? Or are they just saying that through the dragons fighting?
I think they're aiming to cripple the strongholds of their houses. Like, I think specifically Old Town was mentioned when they were like, we need to go take it down. Like,
so they just want to burn the
that's
city.
the seat of the High Towers. Like, I it's what it seems like.
That's the only part that's like, why is that the part that's necessary? Like, the part that's necessary is you need to kill Aegon and you need to show that you're taking over power. The other way is, like, you have dragons, like, siege with a siege with 5 dragons floating around their castle, threatening that you're gonna fucking. I don't know. Like, that's the part that's just weird to me. That's like, it has to be done. We have to kill these innocent people. It's whatever. Like, it's just part of.
I think that what they're saying, it is more a byproduct. I kind of view the hang-ups. It almost seems like they are calling soldiers innocents. Like, they don't stand a chance against dragons. Like, we're essentially killing a defenseless enemy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, you want us to do that. You know, like, we're not just fighting dragons. We are slaughtering people on dragon back. Like, that's what you want. You know? At least, I mean, I don't know. She might be talking about burning cities, but they are reacting to the burning of Sharp Point. Do they react to the burning of Sharp Point by burning other cities? That just doesn't seem like...
That's what I thought.
I think the inevitability of war just guarantees the death of thousands, and she doesn't want to kill thousands, you know? Like,
okay. Just kind of mirroring, like, Aemon being like, yeah, well, if it's going to kill them and they're going to starve, whatever, like, it's whatever. But they at least acknowledge that it's like, well... It's gonna happen.
If we kill 1,000 in battle, it prevents 100,000 from dying for a long and endless war. You know, like at least that's how I take it. But it could, you know, it could be anything. She could mean burning cities, but I just don't see that.
I hope
you know?
not. Like, because the other Dragon Riders, they're like, whoa, like, what do you mean? That's what we have to do. And Jace has to be the one to kind of being like, well. It's just how it has to happen,
yeah.
and they're obviously still like kind of uncomfortable with it. They're like, "Well, are you're sure about that? Like, I'm about to go kill like my kind of people. Like that's you can see it that way because you're not small folk. You don't you know you just see the small folk.
Hugh knows who this will affect.
Yeah,
you know? Like,
and that's why I feel like if it comes back into play, it's the Dragon Riders turning against Rhaenyra and being like, "No, if we're gonna do this." We're not going to kill innocent people. Like we're not going to follow that, and that's
why it's hard. It's hard to say. It's hard to say precisely what the like. It all seems, given the montage at the end of this episode, we are going to a massive battle. Like everyone is meeting in the same fucking place. Massive battle. You know. That's what it seems like. Everyone seems bound for Harrenhal. It seems like everyone's like, link up at Harrenhal. We're gonna duke it out, okay? Yeah, we're gonna throw down, okay? Let's figure this shit out. But like, it won't be the last battle. It's not like the war of House of the Dragon is solved in one fucking episode.
That's true.
You know, like we're not gonna enter next season. The war is over. Rhaenyra sits the throne, and we're good. The next 2 seasons are good living for the Targaryens. You know.
It's, okay,
like
that's true. Keeping up with Rhaenyra, you know, it turns into like a reality show. Yeah, it's like, right, look what I'm doing on the crown.
They
today,
completely switch the way it's shot and everything. Like it becomes a mockumentary.
Yeah,
they do like little confessionals.
Yeah, oh, that'd be so awesome, a reality fucking throne show. But no, you're right. They're not gonna just fucking all die.
They go to Hugh and he's like, I know they're my family, but they are fucking. I don't know what that's about.
I'm the most low-born, but honestly, I'm feeling like the most moral out of all of us guys. Like I don't.
Everybody's insane. This scene is it's so strong. Alicent cries and nods. So long as her family can know peace and know the open air, she's ready to do what she came to do. The war can end. Rhaenyra can have the throne. But before she leaves, she asks, "Come with me."
Yep. One more time. Gotta, you gotta get it in there. You have to.
That homoerotic repression burning inside of Alicent, driving her every need. There is. I love that Kristen and Alicent found each other because they both wanted to fuck Rhaenyra so bad. Like
they both couldn't, and they both wanted to
each other
and couldn't. So they just had to get it out.
In love with Rhaenyra. Yep. And they just settled on each other.
And now they both just want to die and just walk in the air until they die. They just want to breathe and walk and then die. And yeah, it's maybe they're
dude,
not where they're supposed to be, I guess.
And it mirrors that, that scene in season 1 when Christian was like, run away with me, we'll go here and we'll, we don't have to worry about it. And Rhaenyra's kind of like, dude, fuck no. Like, why would I do that? And there is something to the idea that I think is interesting whenever she responds by saying yes, like whenever she nods her head and she tears up and Rhaenyra's like, oh my, you have changed. She's not the girl Rhaenyra loved.
Not at all. Yeah, like,
I think that there's a part in this, I can't remember the specific line, where like Alicent expressly says like, because you loved me, or like, or something like that, or I loved you, or one way or the other, or both. I can't remember, but like, it was really cathartic to see them have at least one more scene where they were obviously just right person, wrong time, wrong circumstance, wrong everything. Like if they could have, I wish we could have stayed. I wish we could have stayed in that cave forever.
Yep.
Sort of Jon Snow, Ygritte sort of
in the
thing,
Godswood
like
together. Like that's where they had their good memories, But maybe if they were just born outside of King's Land, he didn't have all this stuff to fight with.
She's like, I love the way Alicent puts it. She's like, I walked outside the gates, I walked through the woods, and I swam in the water, and a weight was lifted. Like I'm never going back. I love, and she delivers my favorite line of the episode. It's it's almost monologue-ish. Let me copy and paste it because it is, I don't know, I got it here. Rhaenyra's like, they will look down upon you, like you will be a villain in the histories. Are you prepared for that? And she goes, let them think what they want. I am at last myself. No ambition greater than to walk where I please and to breathe the open air, to die unremarked and unnoticed, and be free. I was like, yep, that's a fucking bar. That's a fucking bar. Yeah. And after she asks her to come with her, Rhaenyra says she's bound by family, history. The weight of the world lies on her shoulders, and she could not leave if she wanted to. But I will say, she does not much want to either. She's bound by duty. She has to prevent the future from coming to pass. Like she has a mission, like it's not just, I'm doing this because I want to be the throne. She's doing this because she feels she has to be on the throne, like it's the only way.
Dang. And just all these mirrors everywhere. Just Alicent doing it purely she thought that Viserys was really telling her to do this, but I think like now she kind of has said that like, all right, she's like, I know.
I now see that
she's like,
I butchered that. Whenever she walks in there and she's like, I think I made a mistake. And Rhaenyra's like, no shit. I just so I think that Alicent's, the direction her character has gone has been probably my favorite of the season. I love her having been resigned. I love her done. I love her going her own way, and the shots to conclude the episode where they are mirroring each other. Rhaenyra in the little box at the bottom beneath the shelf that contains the histories of the Targaryens, and then smash cutting to Alicent in the same place on the screen in the open air in the vast water. Like, let's fucking cook Gita Vasant Patel.
My brain, while watching this, I'm like, I see who comes first? I think is it Rhaenyra first, and then it goes to Alicent out. I'm seeing it. I'm like, I start to open the app. I'm like, all right, here's my shot. I'm like, boom, here we go. I'm not even thinking about what it means at all. I'm just like, visually, this is the coolest thing I've seen so far. And then I see Alicent, I'm like, okay, that's also visually really, really cool. Didn't at all dawn on me that she's in the fresh air, the open air, nothing shackling her, nothing weighing her down.
The fucking the shot of Rhaenyra in the shelf she keeps the scrolls, where she has searched the histories and poured over her family and all that fucking slaps. It's so easily my favorite shot of the season, so easily my favorite shot of the show, potentially. Just a perfectly all-encompassing this is what Rhaenyra's life is. And I thought it was beautiful. But that whole montage includes the likes of the Northmen heading through the Twins, The Lannisters setting sail, the Greens marching with a dragon overhead, Daemon looking upon his host, Corlys and Alan rowing for the queen who ever was, and a disheveled Otto awakening in a cell.
He's been at King's Landing the whole time, dude?
That's the only way I can fathom it. And I don't understand. I don't understand, Cotton. I don't get what happened here.
The only other way is if he's in Old Town, but he's all old and he looks like he's been a prisoner for a while, which is the only reason why it doesn't make sense. Because I could see if there's a web that
has to be in the dungeons of King's Landing.
Yeah,
but who's coming to get him?
Aemond?
Aemond could have put him away.
Because Larys is gone. Like, it kind of makes sense if Larys kind of put him down there, but Larys is out with Aegon. It could be his men coming to get him, I guess, like, it could just still be his direction of get Otto out, we need him now, but maybe Aemond feels very alone, like, very, very alone. Basically killed his brother and his dragon. His sister and his mother are leaving him. They're like, he's alone with Vhagar now. Maybe he's just like, fuck, Otto, I need a hand. He's like, I fuck it. Maybe you try to ride a dragon. I don't know. They have success. Fucking you. Do they even have another one to try to bond with? Is that even a thing?
No, not at King's Landing.
Yeah,
they don't have any spare dragons. Like,
what the fuck is? What is Otto there for? And
what's he been up to? What is this? Who locked him away? Because doesn't seem like something Aegon would do. Seems like something Larys might do. I could see Larys doing it. Aemond expressly requests that they fetch Otto to be his hand. I'm like, literally, Larys is the only option.
Larys has to be the one to hide him. Yeah, or Alicent, but
she wouldn't lock him away. And again, if Larys did that, who's coming to fetch his ass? It feels like that'd be something Larys kept on the fucking down low. Like, he didn't tell anybody about that. That's why I'm like, I don't know.
Is it just like one torch kind of approaching him?
They don't even show a torch. Like, they show the light approaching him.
Is there a bunch of footsteps? Is there any footsteps? Is there any noise?
It's music, and goddamn is the music good. Yeah, by the way, holy shit, was the music fucking slapping. They cooked with that one.
Got me ready for season 3. That's for until I was like, it got me a finale feeling there. The end with this music, with this whole montage. Whether the whole episode didn't really feel like a finale, this part did. Like, this kind of all culminating and being like, holy shit, Harrenhal is about to go down. Like, this, it is not looking good for the future of Harrenhal. And yeah, it was really cool seeing like all the different stops, the twins, the Green Tower. Is this the first time we have seen the Green Tower be lit in green and all go into war? I think so. That was like a want. I think that was I was like, I hope we kind of get that. Did we actually get the visual? Because we were at Old Town and we saw them, like, the Old Town forces going.
Yeah, was it in the background?
I don't know. I don't know if the tower was lit green, but I guess we saw Old Town, right? Like, that was. I'm trying to remember
We saw the Old Town forces marching.
So
I don't really
maybe
know that we saw them in the city or marching from the city.
Okay, so maybe not. Okay, then maybe we didn't get Old Town.
We see a dragon flying overhead, which I'm pretty sure is Darren. I gotta guess is Darren. Because again, if it's not, we're missing something. I don't know what dragon was out there with the Old Town forces besides maybe Darren.
Another wild dragon. Yeah, no, I don't think they're going to pull that one out of there.
Yeah, so whoever has Otto locked up, if it's Larys, clearly unconcerned. He's leaving the city with Aegon and dipping. Could be that because he was leaving, he was like, go check on Otto for me.
Yeah.
Is he taking Otto with them? Like, is there something there where I don't know. I'm curious about what the fuck Otto's involvement is, who has him, why he's there, what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, I got like nothing. I have like I don't know like really where it could go or because it's not like they opened the case. It's not like they showed him being freed, or it's not like they showed him being like, or like, hey, come on, let's
Could be
go.
as simple as someone checking on him in a cell.
It's like, oh yeah, he's still alive. All right, fuck, all right, we'll see you later. But
if it wasn't retrieving him in the midst of this montage showing that we're going to war, you could have shown us that anytime. You know, like it's
Is this Laris's like? This is where he gets all of his advice from. He just goes down to the dungeons, talks to Otto, and is like, hey, let me give you all the Otto advice and make me look like the good hand. I mean, I could see that. I could see him
could too.
Like puppeting, being
you
like,
want to eat tonight? You know, like give me, what do you think should happen here? You know, like that. I could see that. Like Laris is my only option. The thing that confuses me is the retrieving him while Laris is leaving the city.
Guess a lot of things have to happen. You know, he needs to be with the king. Maybe he sees that as more important. He loves him. It seems like so. I don't know. Maybe he's just like he's blinded by love. Maybe, but it does feel like they are retrieving. Like for sure, they're going to war. It's like something is going on with them. So, yeah, I didn't. Who locked him up?
The last time we saw him, he was resolute. He was like, "Me and you, Allison, we can prevent this. We got this." And then we just never saw him again. He was just gone. So, I mean, I don't know. There's really no sense in speculating on it because we're fairly certain it's Laris. If it's not Laris, we've got a lot of learning to do. Yeah, I don't know. But that does conclude the season 2 finale. And I feel pretty good about it. Especially after talking through it. I know it's not the most exciting finale, pretty anticlimactic, but we talked for 2 hours and 45 minutes.
It's got the juice. It's there. It's a different kind of juice. You know, it's not the in your face. It's the ones you got to sit back and think on it. And we're gonna be thinking
the
on it.
Prophecy stuff had us going for a while. So, but yeah, I think with that, I will do the plugs, and then we can rate this episode and sign off until season 3. See you in 2 years. If you would, head to Twitter, follow @PennyBloomPod. That's where you'll get any updates on what we're doing. We're going to be starting Penny Bloom Dispatch unofficially within the next couple weeks. Don't know if it'll be next week, the week after, whatever. I know the next show we are covering is Penguin on HBO. We are covering HBO's The Penguin from Matt Reeves, the Batman epic crime saga, I think is what it's officially been dubbed, which is fucking goofy as hell. But so we will be covering that. But Twitter is where you will find out specifics about what's coming, because we haven't really precisely nailed it down either. So that is the place to be at PennyBloomPod on Twitter. You can also follow me at Koro_Bloom. Head to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod where you'll find over 52 hours of exclusive content, including Penny Bloom Dispatch, which is going to be wrapping up here soon, but it will be starting back up whenever Penguin starts rolling. We're going to try to make Dispatch the regular show until we have something we want to be covering. And then when we're covering it, Dispatch goes back to Patreon. That's kind of the idea I have in my head. And it will be available for free on Patreon. You won't have to pay, but there is extra content for $1.50 a month. You just support this podcast financially. Costs me money. I don't make any off of it. That's more a kindness of your heart sort of thing. There's not a lot of a new exclusive content over there these days. We have a giant backlog of exclusive content, but we haven't put exclusive content behind the paywall in a while. So I just want to be upfront about that. If you do sign up for $1.50, you are paying to help me pay for this podcast, essentially. But you will get free episodes of the Penny Bloom Dispatch. You can leave a 5-star rate and review and download wherever you might be listening. That would be a huge, huge help. And stick around with us for Fulcrum, a Star Wars podcast this Wednesday. where we will be discussing episode 5 of Rebels, season 1, episode 5. Very excited for that. We're in the midst of our Rebels rewatch. Going to keep that going all the way through December. And then this Friday brings about an absolute classic on Cinema Surprise here on Penny Bloom Podcast with Singing in the Rain. And I'm very excited for that. So check that out. And again, Twitter is the most important place for you to be. I don't know what we'll be doing next Monday, if we'll be doing anything. So if you want to know for sure, at Penny Bloom Pod, be there. Because this Friday on Cinema Surprise Singing in the Rain, I'm going to go, come back next Monday for House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 9, because we recorded that back when I thought House of the Dragon was 10 fucking episodes. So just a heads up there. We will not be covering Season 2, Episode 9 of House of the Dragon next Monday. I don't know what we will. Again, Twitter, at Penny Bloom Pod. Okay, now we can rate this episode. How are we feeling enjoyment-wise, scale of 1 to 10?
Even though it is anticlimactic, I
got a great deal of enjoyment.
I still enjoyed it. I like the Corliss, like the just the name drop of the ship was great. The whole Adam thing with him, like I mean, it's all these little things that add up to eventually give me like, yeah,
very enjoyable episode.
I really liked it. And last episode, we gave a 9.25 for enjoyment, just to give some bearings, I guess.
I mean, my gut took me to about a 9. 8.75 or 9 was kind of where I was at.
And that's the episode. Small Folk was an 8.75. I think I'm right there. I think I can give it the benefit of the doubt. I think I'll give it a 9 for enjoyment because
I will too.
That's where it can be elevated. I feel like here. I mean, I don't feel like they critically did anything.
No, it's not a bad episode
either.
by any means. The bad elements of this episode is placement. Like, it's the fact that it had to be shortened into 8 episodes.
Yeah.
This is not a finale, you know? Like, and for that, I can dink it, you know? I think 8.5, I'd be willing to bump off a 1.5 for making me wait another 2 years for this. Maybe even 2 points.
Yeah.
You know, like...
it's, like, 7 is, we always say, where it's, like, the threshold of, like, something being good and great. And, like...
And it absolutely is. It's a good episode of television.
And we're there. So I think... Like, floor, at least we're there. But that decision really does suck. Like, I mean, it's just clear that there were some more episodes that we were supposed to get that we're not. And that's all right.
Maybe it hurts it worse than that, you know? Because the episode itself is really strong. Do we plan on rating the season?
I guess the box is there if we want. We do have 2 other boxes that I preemptively had there for episode 9 and 10.
Gotcha.
But
I mean,
if
we
we
did
want
typically rate the seasons of Game of Thrones, so maybe we keep the tradition going.
This is true.
Okay, then I will limit my scope to the episode, and for that, I will give it an 8. I think it's super well shot, extremely well performed, wonderfully written, brilliantly edited. I struggle to find a complaint I have with this episode beyond it not feeling like a finale. You know?
Yeah, and that's... Critically, an 8 is the worst we've given any episode for the whole season, which was episode 5. We just gave 8s across the board, and I feel like that. I like that it's not. This isn't the critically worst episode of the season, but
it's the placement of it that is.
So, all right, with a 9 and an 8, that shakes out to an 8.33 or an 83%.
We do
there.
We do weight the critical heavier for those listening. That's why it's not a neat 8.5.
Yeah, gotta double.
We're not butchering math over here.
I might have sounded really dumb there to you initially. Yeah, it doesn't average out to an 8.33. It averages out on our scale to an 8.33. But yeah, that would 8.33. That is actually the lowest episode of the season, the lowest overall,
which is crazy. It's a good fucking episode, man.
Sorry, there's an 8 flat. I look like a 9 with this font for whatever reason. Episode 5 was an 8, so it's the second to last episode. But
no, I think that tracks too. Even though I did enjoy it a great deal, even though I do think it's a solid episode of television, it's not a great finale, and that's important. That's an important distinction, you know.
I guess as a season, how did we enjoy the season?
This is where that choice really hurts it. 8 is my gut. for enjoyment for the whole season. Because I did have a good time. I had a great time. You know, I loved covering House of the Dragon. I loved watching House of the Dragon. It was a joy every Sunday. And it's crazy to come to the conclusion that the lowest rating we gave any given episode, enjoyment-wise, would be my gut for the entire season. But that is where I'm at. You know, I think that I liked a lot. But if you're going to give me 8 episodes, I'm going to give you an 8 out of 10. If you're going to give me 8 out of 10 episodes, I'm going to give you an 8 out of 10 on the critical scale. You know,
that's kind of fair. Like an 8 just kind of sounds right because like I'm not watching.
It will actually hurt the critical rating worse than this.
Enjoyment?
I still liked the season a lot. I will guarantee you, me and you liked the season far more than most will.
That's for sure. Yeah, and I think that's most people just don't want the character work. They just want the action and stuff, and that's okay to want. But the action will be made better by this season. You know, it's like so.
This is a little bit of the Across the Spider-Verse season, if you will.
Yeah, kind of a. I loved the fuck out of that movie, but man, the ending just kind of left a really sour taste in your mouth. You were like, well.
Guess I'll wait a couple years to find out what happens.
Yeah, so I think 8 or above for enjoyment, 8 or below for critic. You know, like I think maybe I don't know for
That's
critical,
where I'm
but
I'd be cool with giving this an 8 flat enjoyment wise. I liked it. I liked it a lot, but critically, I think I would have to go. Part of the thing that we always discussed when we were rating Game of Thrones was, is the season complete? You can't say that after this last episode. You know, you can't say that after this episode.
Some arcs are, but not the season. You know, not
the season. The season is incomplete. It did not come to a climax. Literally, the season itself did not come to a point that stereotypical storytelling requires. So like 7.5, somewhere in that range.
I was going to be really harsh and be like, I'm giving them just at the brink of good because I know what I'm watching. It's not bad television. Like at the end of the day, like this is pretty top. Like the people that are putting in the work to do this, all the performances, even the people behind the camera, the story,
and
like
I
the
think
writing.
that's important though. Like I think that gives it a little bit above the brink of good. You know, like the performances are astounding. It looks really good. However, that is something that I think could be better also simultaneously. I don't think the show looks as good as it could.
That's true. They showed us that they could make it look phenomenal at some points in the season, and then just like episode 2, was it episode 2?
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, what the fuck? Like, where did that go? Where, like, that
where did the juice go? So, you know what? Never mind. 7's cool with me.
Okay. Then I guess there we are with...
It's a visual medium. If I feel like you can do better visually, I'm going to have beef, you know? Like,
It's kind of true. Like, hats off to everyone acting. Hats off to all that. They're doing the best they can. But I guess with our weight, not a true average, but with an 8 and a 7, it would be a 7.33 for this one for the season. So 73% is where we're cooking. But
rough season 2, all in all. But I don't want that rating to reflect entirely how I feel, because it's hard to put a numerical value on the way you feel. I liked the season. I had a good time. I thought it was extremely well done. I do think it could have been better. I do think I could have gotten more out of it. I think this season was better than either of the last 2 seasons of Thrones. And that's at least. I might even be willing to hear out season 6 or season 5. But not any of the first 4 seasons of Thrones. Those are just probably the greatest. That's probably the greatest run of television ever. So 7.33 for the season. All right. It is
We're
what
there.
it is.
But, 2 more years.
We'll be back eventually with Fire and Bloom. We don't know when. We know they begin filming in January 2025, and we'll keep up with production details and such. You know, when it comes to the Dispatch becoming the primary version of the show, we can update you on these sorts of things that we know we will be covering eventually, and we can kind of keep up with it. And so stick with us. We got a lot. We got a lot to come. If you want to kind of get a feel for what Dispatch will be whenever we start that up, head to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod. We've got a few episodes out already. But yeah, with that, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And I want to breathe the open air.